There are people around the globe who have completely transformed their financial reality, not through grinding harder, not through sacrificing more, but through understanding one fundamental truth that changes everything. They've discovered that money isn't something you chase, it's something that responds to your command. Has this ever happened to you? You work longer hours, you stress about bills, you constantly worry about having enough, yet somehow the harder you try, the more elusive financial freedom becomes. You feel like you're running on a hamster wheel, exhausting yourself but never really getting anywhere. Meanwhile, you watch others seem to effortlessly attract opportunities, abundance, and wealth, and you wonder what secret they know that you don't. Here's what might surprise you. You've been approaching money like a desperate beggar when you were born to live like a divine heir. The difference between these two approaches isn't just philosophical. It's the difference between struggle and flow, between anxiety and certainty, between constantly chasing and naturally receiving. You see, money operates on spiritual principles that most people never learn. While the world teaches you to hustle harder, work longer, and fight your way to financial success, there's an ancient understanding that reveals money as something far more profound. Money, in its truest essence, is energy, pure spiritual substance that's designed to move and flow according to specific laws. Stay with me until the end, because what you're about to discover might completely revolutionize how you think about wealth creation. The secret isn't in doing more, it's in speaking differently. It's not about earning money through sweat and struggle. It's about commanding it through spiritual alignment and the power of your spoken word. Every single day, without realizing it, you're issuing commands to the universe through your words, your thoughts, and your vibration. When you say things like, "I can't afford this," "money is tight," or "I'm always broke," you're not just describing your situation, you're actually creating it. The universe, being perfectly obedient to spiritual law, responds to these declarations by making them your reality. But here's where it gets fascinating. Just as your words have been creating limitation, they can also create abundance. There's a specific way of speaking, a particular spiritual frequency, that money responds to immediately. When you align your voice with divine authority and speak from certainty rather than fear, something remarkable happens. Money stops being something you chase and becomes something that seeks you out. This isn't about positive thinking or wishful affirmations. This is about understanding that there are precise spiritual laws governing abundance. And when you learn to work with these laws instead of against them, your entire financial reality can shift in ways that seem almost miraculous to others, but are simply natural law in action. The people who seem to effortlessly attract wealth aren't lucky. They're aligned. They've learned to speak the language that money understands. They've discovered how to issue clear, uncompromising commands to the spiritual substance that governs all visible manifestation. What you're about to learn isn't theory. It's a practical, proven method that has transformed countless lives. You're going to discover the exact sentence that can shift your entire financial vibration, and more importantly, you're going to understand why it works and how to use it with the authority of someone who knows their words carry divine power. Now, I want to go even deeper into this topic because there's a hidden truth that most people never discover about how the universe actually operates. Every time you open your mouth, you're not just making sounds or expressing thoughts. You're issuing commands to the invisible forces that shape your reality. The universe is constantly listening, waiting with perfect attention for your tongue to issue clear and uncompromising decrees. This might sound mystical, but it's actually incredibly practical. Think about the most successful people you know or have heard about. Listen carefully to how they speak about money, opportunities, and their future. They don't say, "I hope things work out," or "maybe I'll be able to afford that someday." They speak with certainty, with authority, as if their words carry weight in the invisible realm. And they do. If you're serious about transforming your financial reality and want to stay connected to teachings that actually work, subscribe to this channel. This is where people come when they're ready to move beyond theory into real, demonstrable results. I don't want you to miss a single piece of wisdom that could be the key to your breakthrough. Your spoken word carries divine authority whether you realize it or not. Every declaration you make is like signing a spiritual contract with the universe. When you say, "I never have enough money," you're not just describing your situation, you're ordering more of the same. When you declare, "I can't afford this," you're commanding your reality to reflect that limitation. The universe, being perfectly obedient to this cosmic law, has no choice but to fulfill your spoken instructions. Here's the revelation that changes everything. Your current financial situation isn't happening to you. It's happening through you. Every struggle, every limitation, every moment of lack that you've experienced has been the direct result of commands you've unknowingly issued through your words, thoughts, and emotional vibrations. This isn't about blame. It's about empowerment. Because if you created your current reality through unconscious commands, imagine what you can create through conscious ones. Most people live their entire lives without understanding this fundamental principle. They wonder why abundance seems to avoid them, why opportunities pass them by, why money feels so hard to come by. The answer lies in their daily dialogue with the universe. They've been giving mixed signals, unclear instructions, and commands rooted in fear rather than faith. But here's where your transformation begins. Once you understand that the universe has been responding to your words with mathematical precision, you realize that changing your financial reality is as simple as changing your spiritual vocabulary. This journey from unconscious creation to conscious command is where true freedom lives. The impact of this revelation cannot be overstated. Behind the scenes of every financial breakthrough, every unexpected windfall, every moment when money seemed to appear from nowhere, there was someone who learned to speak the language that abundance understands. They discovered how to issue commands from a place of spiritual authority rather than earthly desperation. Your mindset around money is about to undergo a complete transformation because you're about to learn the specific words that command prosperity rather than perpetuate poverty. The decisions you make about how you speak from this moment forward will determine whether you continue living as someone who chases money or become someone who commands it. Write in the comments, "I'm ready to command abundance," if this resonates with you, and you're prepared to step into this new understanding of how your words create your world. Now, let me share with you the most profound revelation that will completely transform your relationship with money. Hidden within ancient spiritual wisdom lies one specific sentence that carries such power, such precise vibrational frequency, that it can instruct infinite source and divine intelligence to open every concealed doorway of abundance in your life. This isn't just another affirmation or positive statement. This is a spiritual key that unlocks the treasury of the universe. The journey from financial struggle to effortless abundance hinges on understanding this one critical truth. There exists a precise way of speaking that bypasses all the limitations you've been operating under. When you discover this sentence and learn to speak it with the proper authority, something miraculous happens in the invisible realm. The very forces that govern prosperity begin to rearrange themselves in your favor. Here's what most people don't realize about the mechanics of manifestation. Behind the scenes of every financial breakthrough, there's a specific, vibrational frequency that was activated through spoken word. The universe operates like a vast computer system, and your words are the programming language. Most people have been coding limitation and scarcity without even knowing it. But when you learn the correct syntax, the results are immediate and undeniable. This transformation goes far deeper than just changing your mindset. It's about aligning with the fundamental laws that govern how energy moves in the physical world. Money, at its core, is simply energy, and energy always flows toward the path of least resistance. When you speak this particular sentence with understanding and conviction, you become that path of least resistance. The impact of this revelation cannot be understated. Once you begin speaking correctly, the entire dynamic between you and money shifts completely. Instead of you chasing money, constantly worrying about where the next payment will come from, constantly strategizing and stressing about financial security, money begins to seek you out. It finds you through unexpected channels, surprising opportunities, and seemingly coincidental circumstances that align perfectly with your needs. This isn't about luck or chance. It's about creating a magnetic field of abundance around yourself through the precise use of spiritual law. The decisions you make about how you speak and what you declare will determine whether you continue operating in the old paradigm of financial struggle or step into this new reality where resources flow to you naturally. People who understand this principle live in a completely different world than those who don't. They experience what others call miracles on a regular basis. Unexpected checks in the mail, surprise bonuses, debts that suddenly get forgiven, opportunities that appear out of nowhere. But these aren't miracles to them. They're simply the natural result of speaking in alignment with divine law. The sentence I'm about to share with you has been tested by time, proven by countless individuals who dared to speak it with conviction, and it operates with the same precision as gravity or any other natural law. When you speak it consistently, rhythmically, and with absolute faith in its power, the universe has no choice but to respond. Money stops being something that evades you and becomes something that actively pursues you. Write in the comments, "I'm ready to receive," if you can feel the shift happening already and you're prepared to wow. Learn this life-changing sentence. The moment you truly grasp this principle, your entire emotional relationship with money undergoes a fundamental transformation. Instead of waking up each morning with that familiar knot of financial anxiety in your stomach, wondering how you'll make ends meet this month, you begin to experience something completely different: divine certainty. This isn't just confidence or positive thinking. It's a deep, unshakable knowing that your supply is assured because you've aligned yourself with the laws that govern abundance. Most people live their entire lives trapped in financial anxiety, constantly worried about having enough, constantly stressed about unexpected expenses, constantly feeling like they're one crisis away from disaster. But this anxiety isn't actually about money. It's about not understanding how the universe really operates. When you realize that wealth is not accidental, that it's not dependent on economic conditions or lucky breaks, but rather that it's vibrational and spiritually commanded, everything changes. Behind the scenes of what appears to be a chaotic, unpredictable world, there are precise, immutable, divine laws governing everything. The universe isn't ruled by luck, chance, or random circumstances. It operates with mathematical precision according to spiritual principles that are as reliable as gravity. Among the highest and most powerful of these laws is the law of the spoken word, which carries creative power. Beyond what most people can imagine, this revelation completely shifts your approach to life. Instead of feeling like a victim of circumstances, constantly reacting to external conditions, you begin to understand that you're actually a co-creator with the universe. Every word you speak is programming your reality. Every declaration you make is setting spiritual law into motion. This journey from anxiety to certainty happens when you realize that you're not at the mercy of economic forces. You're working with cosmic forces. The impact of this understanding cannot be overstated. People who live in divine certainty move through the world differently. They make decisions from a place of abundance rather than scarcity. They speak about their future with confidence because they know their words are creating that future. They don't panic when challenges arise because they understand that every challenge is an opportunity to demonstrate their spiritual authority. This transformation in mindset creates a ripple effect that touches every area of your life. When you're no longer operating from financial fear, you make better decisions. You take calculated risks that lead to greater rewards. You attract opportunities that you would have missed when you were vibrating at the frequency of lack and limitation. The hidden truth is that the universe has been waiting for you to step into this level of spiritual maturity. It's been waiting for you to stop begging and start commanding, to stop worrying and start declaring, to stop reacting and start creating. The moment you align yourself with divine law rather than human opinion, the moment you begin to speak from spiritual authority rather than earthly anxiety, everything in your external world begins to shift to match this new internal frequency. If this content created a shift in your understanding, if you can feel the power behind these principles, show me by hitting the like button. It's your way of saying, "This resonated with my soul," and it helps ensure that more people who need this message will find it exactly when they're ready. Write in the comments, "I choose divine certainty," if you're ready to make this fundamental shift from anxiety to absolute faith in your spiritual authority. Now, let me take you to the very foundation of creation itself, because understanding this will completely revolutionize how you view the power that flows through your own voice. From the very beginning of existence, when the universe was nothing but void and darkness, God didn't reach out with hands to sculpt reality into being. God didn't use tools or machines or physical force. Instead, creation happened through sound. Let there be light, and there was light. These weren't just words describing what happened. These were the actual creative mechanism through which reality came into existence. This isn't just ancient history or religious poetry. This is the blueprint for how creation works. And here's the remarkable truth. That same divine authority through spoken word has been gifted to you. You carry within your vocal cords the same creative power that spoke galaxies into existence, that commanded light to pierce through darkness, that established the laws of physics and set the planets in their courses. Most people go through their entire lives treating their voice as mere decoration, as just a way to communicate thoughts or express emotions. But your voice is actually a creative force of immense power. Every single word you speak carries vibration, and every vibration issues precise instructions to the substance of the universe. When you understand this, when you really grasp the magnitude of what's happening every time you open your mouth, it changes everything about how you approach your financial reality. The journey from unconscious speaking to conscious creation is where true transformation begins. Behind the scenes of every word you've ever spoken, there have been invisible forces responding, rearranging, and manifesting according to the vibrational instructions you've been sending out. The universe doesn't judge whether your words are positive or negative, helpful or harmful. It simply responds to the frequency you're broadcasting. This revelation explains why some people seem to effortlessly attract abundance, while others struggle, despite working twice as hard. It's not about effort, education, or even opportunity. It's about understanding that your voice is literally programming your reality moment by moment, word by word, declaration by declaration. The decisions you make about what to speak and how to speak them are actually decisions about what kind of life you want to create. The impact of this understanding ripples through every area of your existence. When you realize that your words are not just sounds, but actual creative commands, you become incredibly intentional about your spiritual vocabulary. You stop casually throwing around phrases like, "I can't afford it," or "money doesn't grow on trees," because you understand that these aren't just expressions. They're programming instructions that the universe takes literally. The hidden truth is that you've been creating your current financial situation through your spoken words without even realizing it. Every complaint about money, every statement of limitation, every expression of financial fear has been a creative command that the universe has faithfully fulfilled. But now that you understand how this works, you can begin to use this same power deliberately and consciously. Write in the comments, "My voice creates my reality," if you're beginning to grasp the incredible power that flows through every word you speak. This understanding opens up an entirely new dimension of how reality operates, because the universe doesn't just respond to your words. It responds to the emotional frequency behind those words. When you speak from fear, that fear literally becomes form in your physical experience. Every worried statement about money, every anxious declaration about your financial future, every fearful prediction about what might happen, these aren't just thoughts floating harmlessly in the air. They're creative commands that the universe interprets as instructions to manifest more circumstances that will justify that fear. But here's where the transformation becomes profound. When you speak from truth, from divine certainty, from spiritual authority, that truth becomes substance in your reality. The same creative mechanism that manifests fear can manifest abundance. The same vibrational frequency that creates limitation can create overflow. The same spiritual law that responds to worry can respond to faith. It all depends on the emotional foundation from which you're speaking. This journey into conscious creation reveals something remarkable about how the universe has been designed to respond to human consciousness. Behind the scenes of every financial struggle, every money challenge, every moment of lack, there's been a consistent pattern of fear-based speaking that the universe has been faithfully fulfilling. But behind every financial breakthrough, every unexpected abundance, every moment when money seemed to appear from nowhere, there's been someone who learned to speak from truth rather than fear. The impact of this revelation cannot be overstated, because it means you have far more control over your circumstances than you ever imagined. The decisions you make about which emotional frequency to speak from, fear or faith, worry or certainty, doubt or conviction, are literally decisions about what kind of reality you want to experience. This isn't just spiritual philosophy. It's actually supported by ancient wisdom that has guided humanity for thousands of years. Scripture declares with absolute clarity, "Thou shalt decree a thing, and it shall be established unto thee." Notice what this doesn't say. It doesn't say you need to understand how it works. It doesn't say you need to earn it through suffering or prove you deserve it through struggle. It simply says you must decree it. The hidden truth embedded in this ancient text is that the universe operates on a decree system. You're not begging for abundance. You're commanding it. You're not asking permission from circumstances. You're issuing spiritual instructions that transcend physical limitations. This mindset shift from requesting to decreeing, from hoping to declaring, from wishing to commanding, is where your financial transformation begins. Most people approach money like they're asking for a favor from a reluctant universe. But the reality is that abundance is the natural state waiting for your authoritative command. When you decree something from a place of spiritual authority, backed by divine certainty, spoken with conviction and faith, the universe has no choice but to establish it unto you. Write in the comments, "I decree my abundance," if you're ready to step into this level of spiritual authority and speak from truth rather than fear. Understanding what it truly means to decree transforms everything about how you approach your relationship with abundance. To decree isn't to ask, hope, or wish. It's to issue a spiritual verdict, a final word spoken from absolute authority. When a judge issues a decree in court, there's no pleading, no uncertainty, no doubt in their voice. They speak with the full weight of legal authority behind them, knowing that their words carry the power to change reality. This is exactly the same energy you must bring to your financial declarations. When you subscribe, you're not just getting access to more content. You're joining a community of people who understand that words create worlds and that spiritual law is the most practical tool for creating abundance. Hit that subscribe button because your journey into conscious creation is just beginning. The transformation happens when you realize that most people, without knowing it, spend their entire lives speaking like beggars instead of declaring with authority. They approach money from a position of lack, uncertainty, and spiritual poverty, never understanding that this very approach is what keeps them trapped in limitation. Behind the scenes of every financial struggle is someone who has been unconsciously programming scarcity through their daily dialogue with the universe. Listen to the conversations happening around you every day, and you'll hear the exact reason why so many people remain stuck in financial limitation. They say things like, "I hope I can afford it," which is actually a command to the universe to keep that item just beyond their reach. They declare, "I'm always broke," which is a spiritual verdict that ensures they'll continue experiencing that exact reality. They state, "Money just doesn't come easily to me," which becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy that the universe obediently fulfills with mathematical precision. This revelation about how language creates reality explains the hidden truth behind why some people seem to attract money effortlessly while others struggle despite their best efforts. It's not about education, background, or even opportunity. It's about the fundamental difference between speaking from spiritual authority versus speaking from earthly limitation. The impact of this understanding ripples through every decision you make about your financial future. The journey from unconscious poverty programming to conscious abundance commanding requires a complete overhaul of your spiritual vocabulary. Every casual statement about money becomes a moment of choice. Will you speak from the old paradigm of lack and limitation, or will you speak from the new understanding of divine authority and certain supply? Most people have no idea that the universe takes their words literally. When they say, "I can't afford it," the universe doesn't interpret this as temporary disappointment. It receives it as a direct command to maintain that state of being unable to afford things. The mindset shift happens when you realize that every complaint about money, every statement of financial limitation, every expression of economic worry is actually a creative decree that the universe faithfully manifests in your experience. The hidden mechanics of manifestation operate with perfect precision. The universe doesn't judge whether your words are serving your highest good. It simply responds to the vibrational instructions you're broadcasting. This is why conscious speaking becomes such a powerful tool for transformation. Write in the comments, "I speak with authority," if you're committed to ending the unconscious poverty programming and stepping into your role as a spiritual commander of abundance. Now, let me reveal something that will completely shift how you understand the relationship between your words and your financial reality. The spoken word isn't metaphorical or symbolic, it's mechanical. When you speak, you're not just expressing thoughts or emotions. You're literally setting spiritual law into motion with the precision of a machine. Every declaration you make places the gears of supply into movement, either opening or closing the gates of provision based on the exact vibrational instruction you're broadcasting into the universe. This mechanical nature of spiritual law explains why some people experience such dramatic financial transformations when they learn to speak correctly, while others remain stuck despite years of positive thinking or visualization. It's not about hoping or wishing or trying to feel good about money. It's about understanding that your voice operates like a spiritual remote control that's constantly programming your financial experience. The journey into this deeper understanding reveals a hidden truth that changes everything. Money doesn't move based on emotion or struggle. You can work 18 hours a day, stress yourself into exhaustion, worry constantly about bills, and still struggle financially because you're operating under the illusion that physical effort creates financial results. But money, being spiritual substance, responds exclusively to vibrational instruction, not physical exertion. Behind the scenes of every financial breakthrough, every unexpected windfall, every moment when abundance appeared seemingly out of nowhere, there was someone who learned to issue clear vibrational instructions through their spoken word. The transformation happens when you realize that the clearest, most effective way to issue these instructions is through bold, rhythmic spiritual speech that carries the frequency of certainty and divine authority. Most people approach money with tentative, uncertain language because they've been conditioned to believe that humility means speaking softly about their desires. But the universe doesn't respond to timid requests. It responds to confident commands. The impact of this revelation is profound because it means you can literally reprogram your financial reality by changing how you speak about money, not just what you think about it. The decisions you make about the rhythm, tone, and authority behind your words determine whether you're opening the floodgates of abundance or reinforcing the walls of limitation. When you speak with bold certainty, with rhythmic repetition, with the conviction that your words carry divine power, you're issuing the kind of vibrational instruction that money cannot ignore. A simple like on this video tells me that we connected today, that these teachings landed in fertile ground. It also helps the algorithm share this wisdom with others who are searching for real answers to their financial struggles. Your like might be what helps someone else discover their path to abundance. This mindset shift from tentative hoping to authoritative commanding explains why certain individuals seem to effortlessly attract opportunities while others struggle despite having similar skills or education. It's not about luck or connections. It's about understanding that money responds to spiritual frequency, and that frequency is most clearly transmitted through conscious, intentional speech patterns. Write in the comments, "Money responds to my voice," if you're beginning to understand that your spoken word is the key that unlocks the gates of financial provision. This revelation takes us even deeper into the mechanics of creation. Because when you truly understand that there is no neutrality in speech, your entire approach to daily conversation transforms. Every single word that passes through your lips is a cause that sets effects into motion. Every sentence you speak is a seed that will eventually grow into the circumstances of your life. The profound impact of this understanding is that most people, without realizing it, are sowing seeds of poverty with their daily dialogue, wondering why they keep harvesting financial struggle. The journey from unconscious seed sowing to conscious creation begins when you realize that every casual comment about money, every offhand remark about your financial situation, every seemingly innocent statement about what you can or cannot afford is actually programming your future reality. Behind the scenes of your current financial circumstances lies a trail of words you've spoken over months and years, each one a seed that has grown into the harvest you're experiencing today. This transformation in awareness completely changes how you move through the world. When you understand that your voice is constantly planting seeds in the invisible realm, you become incredibly intentional about what you're cultivating. The decisions you make about which words to speak and which thoughts to voice become decisions about what kind of financial garden you want to grow in your life. Here's where the hidden truth becomes even more liberating. Money is not scarce, cruel, or hiding from you. Despite what the news might tell you, despite what economic experts might predict, despite what your current bank balance might suggest, money itself is not the problem. Money is simply spiritual substance waiting patiently for a clear command from a spiritually aligned voice. It's been there all along, ready to respond, ready to flow, ready to manifest in your experience. The revelation that changes everything is, understanding that money responds to authority, not effort. You can exhaust yourself working multiple jobs, sacrifice your health and relationships in pursuit of financial security, stress yourself into illness worrying about bills, and still struggle financially because you're operating from the wrong paradigm entirely. Money doesn't care how hard you work. It cares how clearly you command. This mindset shift explains why some people seem to effortlessly attract wealth while others struggle, despite tremendous effort. Those who understand this principle speak to money like a master speaks to a servant, with clear expectations, unwavering authority, and absolute confidence that their commands will be obeyed. They've learned that the universe responds to spiritual frequency, not physical force. The impact of this understanding ripples through every aspect of your financial experience because it means you can stop exhausting yourself trying to force outcomes and start focusing on the one thing that actually creates results. Speaking with the kind of spiritual authority that money recognizes and obeys. Write in the comments, "I command with clarity," if you're ready to stop working harder and start speaking with the authority that makes money respond immediately. The moment you begin to speak as one who commands spiritual law rather than begs for favors from an uncertain universe, everything in your reality starts to shift in ways that seem almost miraculous to those who don't. Understand these principles. Resources begin to appear from unexpected sources. Opportunities open up that you never could have anticipated, and doors that seemed permanently locked suddenly swing wide. Not because you hustled harder or networked more strategically, but simply because you spoke with the kind of authority that the universe recognizes and responds to immediately. This transformation reveals the hidden truth behind every significant financial breakthrough you've ever witnessed. Behind the scenes of those moments when someone's life completely changed overnight, when they received an unexpected inheritance, when they landed the perfect job seemingly out of nowhere, when their business suddenly took off, there was always someone who had learned to express their spiritual authority through speech rather than effort. The journey from powerless pleading to authoritative commanding represents one of the most profound shifts a person can make in their relationship with abundance. When you understand that your voice carries the same creative power that spoke the universe into existence, when you realize that every word you speak is programming your reality, when you grasp that the universe is literally waiting for your clear commands, everything about how you approach your financial life changes fundamentally. This revelation brings us to perhaps the most powerful truth of all. One sentence, spoken in spiritual alignment with rhythmic repetition and unwavering belief, can undo a lifetime of financial limitation and completely rewire your subconscious mind. Not a book full of affirmations, not years of therapy, not decades of hard work. One sentence, spoken correctly, consistently, and with absolute conviction. The impact of this understanding cannot be overstated because it means that your entire financial destiny can shift through the power of conscious speech. The decisions you make about which sentence to speak and how to speak it become the most important financial decisions you'll ever make. This mindset shift from complex strategies to simple spiritual commands is where true transformation begins. Most people spend their entire lives trying to figure out complicated formulas for financial success, but the universe operates on elegance and simplicity. One properly spoken sentence carries more transformative power than 1,000 desperate strategies. The hidden mechanics of manifestation respond to clarity, conviction, and spiritual authority, all of which can be concentrated into a single, precisely crafted declaration. This isn't about positive thinking or wishful affirmations. This is about understanding that there exists one specific sentence that, when spoken with the proper understanding and unwavering faith, can reprogram decades of limitation programming and establish a new vibrational frequency that money cannot resist. Write in the comments. One sentence changes everything. If you're ready to discover the exact words that can transform your entire financial reality through the power of conscious decree. This understanding takes us far beyond the realm of positive thinking or wishful affirmations into the territory of absolute spiritual law. What I'm sharing with you operates with the same precision and reliability as the law that governs tides, that keeps planets in their orbits, that ensures seasons change with perfect timing. This law doesn't fail. It doesn't sleep. It doesn't have good days or bad days. And it certainly doesn't argue with your commands. It simply fulfills whatever vibrational instruction you consistently broadcast, whether that instruction serves your highest good or perpetuates your limitations. The transformation happens when you realize that you're not trying to convince the universe to help you. You're actually working with cosmic principles that are as dependable as gravity. Behind the scenes of every financial miracle, every unexpected windfall, every moment when abundance appeared seemingly from nowhere, these same immutable laws were operating with mathematical precision. The journey from struggle to flow is simply a matter of aligning your spoken word with these eternal principles. This revelation brings us to the moment you've been waiting for, the unveiling of the exact sentence that can shift your entire financial vibration and command abundance to find you rather than forcing you to chase it. After everything we've explored about the power of conscious speech, about divine authority, about speaking from truth rather than fear, here are the precise words that carry the vibrational frequency of unlimited supply. The sentence is, "Infinite Spirit, open the way for my immediate supply. Let all that is mine by divine right now reach me in great avalanches of abundance." These aren't just words strung together hopefully. This is a precisely crafted spiritual command that addresses the source of all abundance directly, removes every obstacle to your prosperity, and calls forth your divine inheritance with the authority of someone who knows their words carry creative power. The impact of speaking this sentence correctly, consistently, and with unwavering conviction cannot be understated. Every word has been chosen for its specific vibrational frequency. Every phrase carries divine authority, and the entire structure creates a spiritual command that the universe must obey. The decisions you make about how often to speak this sentence, with what level of conviction you declare it, and whether you approach it as a desperate plea or an authoritative decree, will determine how quickly and powerfully it transforms your financial reality. This mindset shift from random, hoping to precise commanding represents the difference between those who spend their lives struggling with money and those who live in effortless abundance. The hidden truth is that this sentence works not because it's magical thinking, but because it aligns your voice with the fundamental laws that govern how abundance flows through the universe. Write in the comments, "I speak this with authority," if you're ready to use this exact sentence to command your financial transformation. Now, let me share with you the fundamental difference between how the world approaches financial transformation and how truth operates. The world constantly tells you to work harder, hustle more, sacrifice everything, fight your way forward through sheer determination and endless effort. But truth operates from an entirely different paradigm. Truth says, "Speak the word only, and thy servant shall be healed." This isn't just ancient wisdom. It's a practical instruction for how creation actually works. Life and death, abundance and lack, prosperity and poverty are literally in the power of your tongue. This revelation completely transforms how you approach every financial challenge in your life. Instead of asking yourself, "How can I work harder to solve this?" or "What more can I do to make this happen?" you begin asking, "What am I speaking into existence?" and "How can I command this situation through my word?" The journey from physical effort to spiritual authority represents one of the most profound shifts in consciousness you can make. Behind the scenes of this transformation lies a crucial understanding that most people never grasp. You cannot speak two languages and expect clarity from the universe. The decisions you make about consistency in your speech determine whether you experience consistent results or constant confusion. You cannot declare abundance in the morning when you're feeling inspired and then complain about money in the afternoon when bills arrive. You cannot command prosperity on Sunday and curse your financial situation on Monday. The impact of this truth reaches into every moment of your day, because it means that your financial breakthrough depends not just on speaking the right words, but on speaking only the right words. Every casual comment, every offhand remark, every unconscious statement about money either reinforces your spiritual command or completely undermines it. The universe doesn't distinguish between what you mean seriously and what you say casually. It responds to the vibrational frequency you're consistently broadcasting. This mindset shift requires a level of spiritual discipline that transforms you from someone who reacts to circumstances into someone who creates circumstances. When you choose to speak only the language of abundance, when you refuse to give voice to limitation, when you become vigilant about every word that passes through your lips, you begin to experience the kind of consistency in results that seems miraculous to others, but is simply the natural outcome of aligned speech. The hidden truth is that most people sabotage their own manifestations through inconsistent speaking. They'll speak powerfully about their abundance for a few days, then spend weeks complaining about their bills, wondering why the universe seems confused about what they actually want. But when you commit to speaking only one language, the language of divine supply, spiritual authority, and certain abundance, everything begins to align. Write in the comments, "I choose one language," if you're ready to commit to speaking only words that create the financial reality you desire. This understanding brings us to perhaps the most practical and transformative aspect of this entire teaching. You must become completely disciplined in your speech, not casual in your declarations, not soft in your commands, not reactive in your responses to circumstances, but absolutely deliberate, bold, spiritual, and rhythmic in every word you speak about money and abundance. The transformation from unconscious speaking to conscious creation requires this level of spiritual discipline because your life reflects your language with mathematical precision. Most people treat their speech like background noise, casually throwing around words without any awareness of their creative power. But when you understand that every word is programming your reality, every sentence is setting law into motion, every declaration is either opening or closing the floodgates of abundance, you begin to approach your vocabulary with the same reverence a master craftsman brings to their tools. Behind the scenes of every financial struggle lies a pattern of undisciplined speech. The journey from limitation to abundance often requires nothing more than becoming vigilant about the words you allow to pass through your lips. If your bank account is in disorder, the first place to look isn't at the economy, your job, or your circumstances. Check your vocabulary. If debts seem to multiply despite your best efforts, don't blame external forces. Check your declarations. The mouth is literally the gate through which divine supply either flows freely or gets completely blocked. This revelation transforms how you view every financial challenge in your life. Instead of looking for complex solutions or blaming external circumstances, you begin to understand that your mouth has been either your greatest asset or your biggest liability in creating financial results. The impact of this awareness ripples through every conversation, every thought you voice, every casual comment you make about money. The decisions you make about speech discipline become the most important financial decisions you can make. When you commit to speaking only words that align with abundance, when you refuse to give voice to limitation, when you become rhythmic and deliberate in your declarations rather than casual and reactive, you literally reprogram your subconscious mind and command the universe to respond differently. This mindset shift explains why some people can transform their entire financial reality seemingly overnight, while others struggle for years with the same strategies. Those who experience rapid transformation have learned that the shortest distance between financial struggle and financial freedom is not through more effort, but through disciplined speech that aligns with spiritual law. The hidden truth is that your current financial situation is a perfect reflection of your habitual speech patterns. Every limitation you're experiencing can be traced back to words you've spoken consistently over time. Write in the comments, "I discipline my speech," if you're ready to take complete responsibility for the words you speak and transform your financial reality through conscious communication. This understanding brings us to one of the most liberating revelations you can ever receive about how the universe operates in your life. The law that governs abundance is not punishing you, criticizing you, or working against you in any way. It's actually serving you with perfect loyalty and absolute precision. But here's the crucial truth that changes everything. It cannot serve what you refuse to declare. The law can only multiply what you consistently speak into existence, which means you must become absolutely intentional about speaking only what you wish to multiply in your experience. The transformation from victim to victor happens when you realize that the universe has been serving your words faithfully, whether those words create abundance or limitation. Behind the scenes of every financial struggle, there's been someone unconsciously declaring lack, limitation, and scarcity, and the law has been loyally serving those declarations. But the moment you begin speaking only abundance, prosperity, and divine supply, that same faithful law immediately begins serving those new declarations instead. This journey into conscious creation requires establishing a rhythm that reprograms your subconscious mind and establishes a new vibrational frequency in your life. Every morning before you check your phone, before you engage with the world's energy, before you allow external circumstances to influence your inner state, you must speak clearly as one who is already provided for, not as a beggar hoping for mercy, but as a builder constructing your reality through conscious decree. The impact of this morning practice cannot be overstated because it sets the vibrational tone for your entire day. When you begin each day by declaring your abundance, by speaking the sacred sentence with conviction, by addressing infinite spirit as your source, rather than your circumstances as your limitation, you're programming your subconscious mind to expect and attract abundance throughout the day. The decisions you make about your evening practice are equally crucial because they determine what your subconscious mind processes during sleep. Every evening before you cross the threshold into rest, you must speak again, sealing your day with declarations of divine supply rather than worries about tomorrow's challenges. This rhythm of morning and evening declaration creates a consistent vibrational frequency that money cannot ignore. The hidden truth behind this practice is that it transforms you from someone who reacts to circumstances into someone who creates circumstances. Most people wake up checking their bank balance, their bills, their problems, allowing external conditions to determine their internal state. But when you establish this disciplined rhythm of conscious speaking, you begin each day from a position of spiritual authority rather than earthly anxiety. This mindset shift explains why those who practice this principle seem to live in a completely different reality than those who don't. They're not lucky or privileged. They've simply learned to speak their reality into existence through consistent, rhythmic declaration. Write in the comments, "I establish my rhythm," if you're ready to commit to this morning and evening practice that will reprogram your entire relationship with abundance. This revelation completely transforms how most people approach the manifestation process because it reverses the order they think is necessary for creating change. Don't wait until you feel rich to speak as the rich speak. Don't postpone your declarations until your circumstances improve. Don't hold back your spiritual authority until your bank account reflects abundance. The hidden truth behind all manifestation is that you must speak it first. Feelings will follow your frequency, and conditions will obey. Your confession with mathematical precision. Most people trap themselves in a waiting game that never ends. They think they need to feel prosperous before they can speak prosperously. They believe they need evidence before they can declare abundance. They assume they need proof before they can command supply. But this backwards approach keeps them locked in limitation because they're trying to create from effect rather than cause. The transformation happens when you understand that you're spoken. Word is the cause, and everything else, including your feelings and circumstances, is the effect. Behind the scenes of every financial breakthrough, there was someone who learned to speak from their desired reality rather than their current circumstances. The journey from limitation to abundance requires this fundamental shift in approach. When you speak the sacred sentence with authority, when you declare your divine supply with conviction, when you command abundance to find you, you're not lying or pretending. You're actually speaking from the invisible realm where your abundance already exists, waiting for your command to manifest in the physical world. The impact of this understanding changes everything about how you approach your daily declarations. When you speak, you must do so with feeling, with rhythm, with absolute conviction that what you decree is already established in the invisible realm. You're not trying to create something new. You're calling forth what already belongs to you by divine right. This mindset shift from creating to claiming, from manifesting to commanding, from hoping to knowing, transforms the entire energy behind your words. The decisions you make about the emotional frequency you bring to your declarations determine how quickly and powerfully they manifest. When you speak with half-hearted hope, the universe receives a weak signal. But when you speak with the feeling of someone who knows their words carry divine authority, when you bring rhythm and conviction to your declarations, when you speak as if what you're decreeing is already done, the universe has no choice but to respond immediately. This revelation explains why some people see instant results while others speak the same words without effect. It's not about the words themselves. It's about the feeling, conviction, and spiritual authority behind those words. The hidden mechanics of manifestation respond to your emotional frequency more than your intellectual understanding. Write in the comments, "I speak with conviction," if you're ready to bring this level of feeling and authority to every declaration you make. Now, I want to take you deeper into understanding why this sacred sentence carries such transformative power by breaking down each phrase so you can speak it with complete understanding and unwavering authority. When you begin with infinite spirit, you're making a profound declaration about where you're placing your trust and from whom. You're requesting supply. You're addressing the source directly, bypassing every limited channel that the world would have you depend on. Instead of looking to your job, your investments, your connections, or your current circumstances as your source, you're declaring your trust in eternity, not economy. This transformation in where you direct your attention changes everything about how you approach abundance. Behind the scenes of every financial struggle is someone who has been looking to finite sources for infinite supply, depending on limited channels for unlimited provision. But when you say infinite spirit, you're recognizing divine intelligence as the true origin of all wealth, acknowledging that every dollar, every opportunity, every resource ultimately flows from this inexhaustible source. The journey from limited thinking to infinite possibilities begins with this simple but profound shift in recognition. The impact of addressing infinite spirit directly cannot be overstated because it immediately elevates your consciousness above economic conditions, market fluctuations, and worldly limitations. You're speaking to the force that created galaxies, that orchestrates the perfect timing of seasons, that maintains the precise balance of the entire universe. When you continue with "open the way," you're issuing a command that operates on multiple levels simultaneously. This is not a request or a suggestion. It's a direct instruction to remove all subconscious interference, dissolve every mental block, and reveal the open door through which your supply flows. The hidden truth behind this phrase is that you're not trying to force outcomes or manipulate circumstances. Instead, you're removing friction through the principle of non-resistance. The decisions you make about how you understand these words determine the level of authority with which you speak them. Most people unconsciously create resistance to their good through limiting beliefs, fearful thoughts, and subconscious programming that says they don't deserve abundance. But when you command "open the way," you're instructing divine intelligence to bypass all of this internal interference and create a clear pathway for your manifestation. This mindset shift from effortful forcing to effortless allowing transforms your entire approach to creating abundance. You're working with spiritual law rather than against it, flowing with divine order rather than fighting against invisible obstacles. The universe knows exactly which channels need to open, which opportunities need to appear, which connections need to be made. Write in the comments, "The way is opening," if you can feel the power behind these words and you're ready to speak them with complete understanding. The next phrase carries tremendous power because it eliminates the most common mistake people make when trying to manifest abundance: waiting for someday. When you declare, "For my immediate supply," you're speaking of now, not someday. You're not asking for eventual provision or hoping for future abundance. You're commanding immediate manifestation. This transformation in timing consciousness is crucial because in spirit there is no time, only divine order. What belongs to you already exists in the invisible realm, waiting for your authoritative command to appear in physical form. Behind the scenes of every delayed manifestation is someone who has been speaking in future tense rather than present. Authority. The journey from "someday I'll have enough" to "my supply is immediate" represents a fundamental shift in spiritual understanding. The impact of this timing adjustment cannot be overstated because the universe responds to the frequency of immediacy with immediate results, while it responds to the frequency of delay with continued delay. The decisions you make about whether to speak from present authority or future hope determine whether you experience instant demonstrations or prolonged waiting. When you understand that your abundance exists right now in the invisible realm, when you realize that divine timing means now, when you grasp that there is no spiritual reason for delay, you begin to speak with the kind of urgency that commands immediate response. This mindset shift brings us to perhaps the most important aspect of the entire sentence. "Let all that is mine by divine right." These words carry profound significance because they establish that what you're calling forth are not possessions of pride, not ego-driven desires, not things you're trying to take from others. These are things that have been assigned to you by spiritual law, resources that belong to you according to divine order, abundance that serves the highest good for all involved. The transformation happens when you realize you're not competing with others for limited resources. You're claiming what has been specifically designated as yours by divine intelligence. Behind the scenes of this understanding lies the recognition that the universe operates on principles of perfect justice and infinite supply. What belongs to you cannot be taken by another, and what belongs to another cannot be claimed by you. This revelation eliminates guilt, competition, and scarcity thinking because you understand that you're aligning with cosmic order rather than fighting against it. The hidden truth is that when you receive your divine inheritance, it actually creates more abundance for everyone else rather than taking from them. Your prosperity serves the greater good because you become a channel through which divine abundance flows into the world. Write in the comments, "I claim my divine right," if you understand that your abundance serves not just you, but contributes to the prosperity of all. The next phrase transforms you from someone who sends energy outward, trying to attract abundance, into someone who magnetically draws their good into immediate manifestation. When you declare, "Now reach me," you're engaging in magnetic reception, pulling everything that belongs to you into the present moment with irresistible spiritual force. This isn't about chasing or seeking, it's about commanding your abundance to find you, to locate you, to reach you wherever you are right now. The transformation embedded in these words dissolves every barrier that has been standing between you and your prosperity. Time becomes irrelevant because you're calling your good into now. Fear becomes powerless because you're speaking from absolute authority. Distance becomes meaningless because spiritual law operates beyond physical limitations. Disbelief becomes impossible because you're operating from the frequency of someone who knows their words carry divine power. Behind the scenes of this magnetic process, something remarkable happens in the invisible realm. Instead of you pursuing opportunities, opportunities begin pursuing you. Instead of you searching for solutions, solutions start appearing in your path. The journey from seeking to receiving represents one of the most profound shifts in consciousness you can experience because it moves you from effort to effortlessness. The final phrase of this sacred sentence carries perhaps the most transformative energy of all. In great avalanches of abundance. Here, you're commanding not drops of prosperity, but downpours of wealth. Not small portions, but overwhelming floods of supply. The decisions you make about how boldly you're willing to command abundance determine how generously the universe responds to your decree. The hidden truth behind the avalanche metaphor is that this is exactly how your good will appear when you speak with true spiritual authority. Avalanches are massive, sudden, completely unstoppable, and they come from an accumulation of energy that reaches a tipping point and releases all at once. This is the precise mechanism through which divine abundance manifests when you learn to speak correctly. The impact of commanding avalanches rather than requesting trickles cannot be overstated. Most people unconsciously limit their manifestations by speaking small, thinking small, expecting small results. But when you understand that the same spiritual law that can manifest $1 can manifest $1 million, when you realize that infinite spirit doesn't struggle with large amounts any more than small amounts, you begin to speak with the kind of boldness that commands massive demonstration. This mindset shift from scarcity thinking to abundance commanding opens up possibilities that seemed impossible from your previous level of consciousness. You're no longer asking for just enough. You're commanding overflow, surplus, more than enough to meet every need and fulfill every desire. Write in the comments, "I command avalanches," if you're ready to speak with this level of spiritual boldness and expect massive manifestation in your life. Now, understanding the power of this sacred sentence is only the beginning of your transformation, because having the right words without proper implementation is like having a key without knowing how to use it. Your subconscious mind, which controls approximately 95% of your daily experiences, operates according to very specific principles. It responds to repetition, emotion, and imagery, and until you deliberately reprogram it with your new financial vocabulary, your outer world will continue reflecting the old patterns that have been running in the background of your consciousness. The journey from conscious understanding to subconscious acceptance requires a systematic approach that goes far deeper than simply knowing what to say. Behind the scenes of every lasting transformation is someone who understood that you must replace old limiting patterns like, "I can't afford it," or "money is tight," with the new sentence until it becomes a living vibration in your being. This isn't about covering up negative thoughts with positive ones. It's about actually overwriting the fundamental programming that creates your financial reality. The transformation happens through deliberate, consistent repetition that reaches the deepest levels of your mind. You must speak the sacred sentence first thing upon waking, when your subconscious is most receptive, and last thing before sleep, when your mind is preparing to process the day's experiences. These are the golden moments when the conscious mind's resistance is lowest and the subconscious is wide open to receiving new instructions. The impact of creating this disciplined rhythm cannot be overstated because it establishes a new vibrational frequency that operates 24 hours a day, even when you're not consciously thinking about money. The decisions you make about consistency determine whether this becomes a temporary experiment or a permanent transformation. This isn't about speaking the sentence when you feel like it or when you remember. It requires the discipline of a spiritual warrior who understands that their financial freedom depends on this commitment. Most people fail at reprogramming because they approach it casually, sporadically, without the understanding that the subconscious mind requires consistent input to create lasting change. But when you commit to this morning and evening practice with unwavering dedication, when you speak the sentence with emotion and conviction every single day, when you create the rhythm that allows this new frequency to take root in the deepest levels of your consciousness, everything begins to shift from the inside out. The hidden truth is that this practice works whether you believe it will or not, because you're working with natural laws of mind that operate with mathematical precision. Write in the comments, "I commit to the rhythm," if you're ready to establish this daily practice that will reprogram your entire relationship with abundance. This understanding of rhythmic reprogramming brings us to the moment where theory transforms into demonstrable results through a specific, measurable challenge that will prove to you beyond any doubt that these principles work. For the next 7 consecutive days, you're going to speak the sacred sentence morning and night without excuse, without doubt, without delay. This isn't a casual experiment. It's a precise test of spiritual law that will shift something fundamental in your reality. The transformation begins the moment you commit to this challenge, because you're not just changing what you say, you're changing who you are at the vibrational level. Behind the scenes of these 7 days, powerful forces will begin rearranging circumstances, opening channels, and preparing demonstrations that will arrive in ways you never could have predicted. The journey from skepticism to certainty happens when you experience firsthand how quickly the universe responds to consistent, authoritative declaration. During these 7 days, you're absolutely forbidden from speaking lack in any form. No complaining about bills, no worrying about money, no casual statements about what you can't afford. Every word that passes through your lips must align with abundance, because you're conducting a scientific experiment in consciousness, and contaminating the test with limiting language will dilute your results. The impact of this challenge extends far beyond just financial demonstration, because you're actually rewiring your entire nervous system to expect prosperity rather than struggle. The decisions you make about your commitment level during these 7 days will determine whether you experience a minor shift or a complete breakthrough. Something will shift. You may receive unexpected checks in the mail, surprising job offers, creative breakthroughs that generate income, debts that suddenly get forgiven, or opportunities that appear from nowhere. This mindset shift from hoping these principles work to knowing they must work creates the kind of certainty that accelerates manifestation. When your 7 days are complete, you'll seal this transformation with rapid-fire affirmations that lock in your new vibrational frequency. You'll declare with absolute conviction, money comes to me swiftly, easily, and continuously. I command divine supply, and it appears under grace. My word is law, money finds me, it is already done. The hidden truth behind this final sealing is that you're not trying to convince yourself of something untrue. You're acknowledging what has become true through your disciplined practice. Your word has literally become law in your experience, and money must find you because you've aligned yourself with the fundamental principles that govern abundance. You've just received something that most people will search for their entire lives without ever finding: the exact spiritual technology that transforms your relationship with money from struggle to flow, from chasing to commanding, from anxiety to absolute certainty. The fact that you stayed with me through this entire journey tells me everything I need to know about your commitment to creating real change in your life. This isn't the kind of content you stumble across by accident. This understanding of how to speak abundance into existence, how to command spiritual law through conscious decree, how to reprogram your subconscious for prosperity, this found you because you were ready for it. And if you're ready for this level of transformation, then you're definitely ready for what's coming next. I share these principles because I've seen them work in countless lives, including my own. When you subscribe to this channel, you're not just getting more videos. You're staying connected to a consistent source of spiritual wisdom that can guide you through every aspect of creating the life you truly desire. This is where people come when they're ready to stop hoping and start commanding their reality. If this message resonated with you, if you can feel the shift already beginning in your consciousness, comment below and simply say, "This message was meant for me." I read every single comment because I want to know that these teachings are landing in the hearts and minds of people who are truly ready to use them. And if you felt that connection throughout our time together today, if this content created value in your life, let me know by hitting the like button. It helps more. People find these teachings when they need them most. Speaking of which, there's a video right here that complements this topic perfectly. It's about the specific mindset shifts that accelerate manifestation and eliminate the waiting period between speaking your word and seeing your results. Click and continue with me over there because your transformation is just getting started.
Long before you speak a word aloud, a deeper conversation is already underway. A silent broadcast, playing day and night. This is the steady language of your belief, speaking directly to the substance of your life. And this conversation is the contract, the sacred agreement that dictates what you will allow, what you will receive, and what the world, in its perfect, unwavering obedience, reflects back to you. It is the most powerful law in your universe. It operates largely unseen. Like the roots of a great and ancient tree, it holds everything in place, drawing its life from the very soil of your mind. You have been living by this law every moment of every day, and today you are being invited to finally read the terms of your own contract, to pick up the pen with a steady, reverent hand, and to consciously, lovingly rewrite it all. This is not a lesson in wishing. It is a remembrance of your own creative power, a reclamation of the sacred architecture of your reality. The great spiritual teacher Florence Scovel Shinn saw this truth with crystalline clarity. She taught that the subconscious mind is a faithful servant, a tireless builder who takes our deepest convictions as its blueprint. It does not argue. It does not judge. It simply builds. It takes the images we hold most dear, the words we repeat in the silence of our hearts, the feelings we inhabit as truth, and it constructs the very framework of our days, our relationships, our health, our substance. As she would say, the subconscious mind has no sense of humor. It takes you at your word. It materializes the exact pattern you hand to it. And this, my dear one, is the truth that will set you free. This is where the great mystery of your life begins to unravel. This is where you find the key. For so many of us, especially as women, have been taught to hand this faithful servant a blurred, apologetic, and uncertain blueprint. We have been conditioned to whisper our desires, to ask for just enough, to frame our most sacred dreams in the soft, hazy language of someday, and I hope so. We say to the universe, I would love a beautiful relationship. And so the universe, in its infinite and precise obedience, brings us a string of almost beautiful connections. The kind man, but unavailable. The loving partner, but uncommitted. The idea of love, but never its grounded, solid, everyday presence. The blueprint was for love, a vague and formless concept. The servant built accordingly. We say, I just want to be financially comfortable. And so we experience a life of just getting by. A month where the bills are paid, but there is nothing left for joy. A surprise expense that erases a tiny savings. A constant, low-grade hum of anxiety that keeps us in a state of just enough. The blueprint was for comfort, a relative and undefined state. The structure built is one of perpetual balancing, never true, expansive, overflowing abundance. And when it comes to money, this law of belief operates with the stark, unwavering precision of mathematics. Money is not a shadow that drifts without identity. It is not a fickle god to be appeased or a prize to be won through struggle. It is a current, a living vibration of divine energy, a symbol of life's infinite substance, and it flows exactly where it is given a clear and welcoming channel. That is the core teaching we must anchor ourselves in today. Your supply does not respond to neediness. It does not answer to desperation. It answers to clarity. It responds to the one who has the courage to call it by its name. Most of the world cries out into the void, I need more money. But what, my dear, is more? To this faithful, literal servant of your subconscious, more could be a coin found gleaming on the pavement. It could be a forgotten dollar in a coat pocket. It could be a 10% off coupon in the mail. The law of supply is not sentimental. It is exact. It delivers, with mathematical precision, what is pictured, decreed, and held in the unwavering focus of your mind. If the picture is blurred, the result will be blurred. If the decree is a whisper, the result will be a whisper. I must tell you this truth, and I want you to let it land in your heart without shame, without judgment, but with the liberating force of a long-awaited revelation. You have not been denied. You have not been overlooked by God or by life. Your decree has simply been too faint. Your blueprint too smudged for the law to read it clearly. The universe, that great and loving intelligence, is waiting. It is leaning in, listening for you to speak the number, to form the picture, to claim the substance of your good, as though it were already resting in the palm of your hand. In the invisible, infinite storehouse of spirit, there are divine patterns, molds for every conceivable form of good. Molds for health, for joy, for love, and yes, molds for wealth. There are molds for $100, for 1,000, for 100,000, for millions. Each mold already exists, perfectly formed, shimmering in the ether, waiting for the one who will have the courage and the clarity to pick it up with the hand of faith and say, with quiet, unshakable conviction, this one is mine. This is not a game of greed. Let us release that old, tired story right now. This is a game of clarity, a sacred practice of divine alignment. If you were commissioning a beautiful gown, you would give the dressmaker your exact measurements. You wouldn't say, oh, just make something that sort of fits. You would do so with the joyful expectation that the final garment will be a perfect reflection of your vision, made just for you. In the very same way, you must give the law your exact size in thought, so that your supply may fit your need, your dream, your vision, without waste, without lack, and without delay. And this brings us to a profound and empowering moment of awareness, a turning point in your journey. You are already using this law. Breathe that in for a moment. Let it settle. You are not learning a new skill. You are waking up inside a power you have been wielding your entire life. Every circumstance you find yourself in right now, the state of your finances, the quality of your relationships, the health of your body, is a perfect manifestation of a past belief, a flawless construction from an old blueprint. This is not cause for blame. Listen to me. This is cause for celebration. Because if you have been a master creator of circumstances from a place of unconscious, inherited, and fearful belief, imagine what you can create now, from a place of conscious, loving, and deliberate choice. You are the architect. You have always been the architect. The servant has simply been building from the plans you've been handing over without realizing it. And this, my dear one, is the truth. Today, you walk into the design studio of your own soul. You unroll a fresh, clean sheet of paper, and you begin to draw, not from the memory of what has been, but from the vision of what is divinely possible. You are not broken. You are simply waking up at the drafting table. So how do we begin to draw this new, clear, and sacred blueprint? How do we learn to speak this language of clarity so that the universe can finally deliver our order, complete and perfect? We begin with 3 simple, sacred steps. Not complicated rituals, but gentle, consistent practices that repattern the soil of the mind, making it fertile for the seeds of impossible abundance. The first step, the sacred naming. You must give your desire a name. You must be specific. Step out of the shadows of vague asking and stand in the clear, illuminating light of divine specificity. If you require a certain sum of money, you must name that sum. Not as a desperate plea, not as an arrogant demand, but as a calm, clear statement of spiritual fact. Let go of the fear that being specific is somehow limiting God or that it is selfish. Specificity does not limit God, it directs God. It gives the infinite, formless energy of abundance a channel to flow through, a form to take in your world. Think of it like this. You are standing before a faithful, loving servant, ready to go into the boundless storehouse of God to fetch whatever you request. If you leave the request form blank, the servant must stand still, unable to act on your behalf. If you write, "Bring me something nice," the servant is confused. But if you write, "Bring me $5,000 under grace and in perfect ways," the servant now has a clear directive. The mission is set. The power is in motion. The law has been given its assignment. So, I invite you now, in the quiet of your own heart, to get clear. What is the amount? What is the sum that would meet your needs, fund your dream, clear your debts, and give you the beautiful, expansive peace of knowing you are utterly supported? Do not consult your bank account. Do not look at your past earnings. Those are artifacts of an old blueprint. Look instead into the truth of your desire, the truth of your divine inheritance. Perhaps it's $12,400 to cover your rent and expenses with ease, so you can breathe again. Perhaps it's $10,000 to invest in your soul's work, to finally bring your gift into the world. Perhaps it's $50,000 for a down payment on a home, a sanctuary for you and for those you love. Whatever the number is, let it form in your mind. Write it down, speak it, and as you do not tremble, do not flinch. Faith does not measure by present resources. Faith measures by God's resources, and those have no limit. The only limit is the size of the mold you choose to hold. If you hold a thimble of belief, a thimble is what will be filled. But if you hold a bucket, a vault, a treasury in your mind, heaven itself will see that it overflows. This is your first sacred act, to name your good. The second step, the inner blueprint. Once the amount has been named, you must now give it a face, a form, a living presence in the invisible theater of your mind. The law does not respond to abstract numbers. It responds to pictures. It responds to patterns. A named sum with no mental image is a seed with no soil. It cannot take root. You must place that sum inside an image so clear, so vivid, that if I were to ask you to describe it, you could tell me its texture, its weight, its color, the way the light hits it. This is not a frivolous daydream. This is the holy work of creation. You are building the mold that the substance of the universe must now rush to fill. Close your eyes for a moment. See the amount. See it written on a check in beautiful, clear ink made out to you. See your name spelled perfectly. See the numbers, bold and strong. See the signature of the divine paymaster, or see it printed in your online bank account. See the balance and notice how the screen seems to glow with a light of its own. Feel the wave of peace, of gratitude, of sheer relief that washes over you as you look at it. Perhaps you see it in crisp, fresh notes fanned out on your kitchen table. Feel the texture of the paper. Smell the scent of newness. Imagine bundling it, counting it, knowing it is yours. Here and now, to use for your good. You must sharpen this picture every single day. Look at it in the morning when you first awaken, before the world's chorus of doubt can begin. Look at it at night, just before you drift to sleep, letting it be the final truth your subconscious mind works on as you rest. This picture becomes your North Star. Let no contradictory image take its place. When a bill arrives, see it stamped paid. When you look in your wallet, see it full. The law works with the image you hold most firmly, most consistently, most lovingly. Remember what Florence taught. Faith is not hoping something might happen. Faith is living in the picture as if it has already happened. You are not creating from nothing. You are simply calling into sight what already exists for you in the invisible. So do not say, "I hope it comes." That is a picture of waiting, of uncertainty. Say and see, "I have it now. I see it now. It is here." That is a picture of possession. The more real this picture becomes in your mind, the more tangible, the more you can feel its weight and see its light, the sooner it will find your address, the sooner it will ring your doorbell, not as a hope, but as an answer, in the form of opportunity, of payment, of a divine and perfect surprise. The third step, the current of creation. You have named the sum. You have painted the picture. Now you must breathe life into it. A picture without feeling is a house without warmth, a perfectly built structure, but no one is home. It is a ship with a flawless sail, but no wind to move it. Feeling is the divine current. It is the holy wind. It is the breath of God that turns a blueprint into a living, breathing reality. The law does not just read your thoughts. It feels the vibration behind them. It responds to the energy you are emitting. This is why you must clothe your mental picture in the living, breathing fabric of gratitude, of joy, of absolute certainty. When you see your named sum in your mind's eye, allow your heart to respond as if the money has already physically arrived. Feel the shift in your body. Feel your shoulders drop away from your ears. Feel the tension release from your jaw. Feel a gentle, expansive warmth bloom in the center of your chest. This feeling, this vibration of already having, is the seal upon your decree. It is the magnetic force that draws the manifestation from the unseen into the seen. It tells the universe with undeniable clarity, the mold is ready, it is time to fill it. Florence often said, "You cannot receive with clenched fists." A fearful heart, an anxious mind, a spirit of grasping and desperation. These are clenched fists around your desire. They grip it so tightly that the blessing cannot enter. You must consciously open your hands, soften your heart, and let the joy of possession flood your being. Right now, feel the profound comfort of your bills being paid. Feel the sweet, expansive relief of your needs being met and your dreams being funded. Feel the freedom, the lightness, the sheer delight of it. The language of divine law is not need, it is joy. You do not manifest because you are desperate. You manifest because you are aligned with the divine, joyful, ever-expanding rhythm of abundance. When you feel joy, you become magnetic. When you feel certainty, you become irresistible to your good. And this sacred feeling must find its voice. Your spoken word is the final, powerful act that breathes spirit into form. It is the trumpet that signals the invisible army of circumstances to march on your behalf. When the Word was with God in the beginning, it was not a silent thought. The Word was spoken, and worlds took form. You too must speak if you wish to see your world reshaped. So speak your amount aloud. Say it clearly, as you would call a dear friend from across a field. Let your voice carry not the weak tone of wishing, but the firm, calm, loving tone of one who knows the one they call will hear and will come. Let these words become your sacred mantra, your affirmation of truth. By divine right, under grace and in perfect ways, your specific amount now comes to me. I give thanks that it is here. I am a divine magnet for your specific amount, which is mine now and which I use for my highest good and the good of all. My supply is infinite, and your specific amount is now drawn to me from the universal storehouse of God. Declare it in the morning, whisper it at night, speak it when you feel a wave of fear. Let the sound of your own voice, declaring your truth, become the antidote to every old story of lack. Let it become as natural to you as your own breath. This is the holy trinity of creation, a clear name, a vivid picture, and a joyful feeling, all activated by the spoken word. Now, as you begin this beautiful sacred practice, you must be prepared for the shift. When you begin to change the inner blueprint, the outer world may at first seem resistant. This is normal. This is a sign that your work is taking hold. When you plant a new garden, you must first pull the old weeds. For a time, the soil can look messy, overturned, chaotic. You might feel a surge of your old fears. You might hear the voices of past failures. You might look at your current reality and feel a painful dissonance. Do not be discouraged. Listen closely, my dear. This is the turning of a great ship in the sea. There is resistance. There is churn. Before it finds its new, true course, see this discomfort not as a sign of failure, but as proof that you are powerful. You are disturbing the old patterns. You are shaking the foundations of a reality built on lack, and that is a momentous, courageous act. During this time, your only work is to remain faithful to your new blueprint. When a rival thought appears, a thought of how, or when, or it's not possible, you must do what Florence called erasing it. Do not fight it. Do not wrestle with it. Simply, gently, and firmly replace it. If you catch yourself saying, "I can't afford that," stop. Take a breath. And replace it immediately with, "My supply is endless, and all that I require comes to me now." You must become single-minded. The universe does not punish you for a moment of doubt. It holds no record of your mistakes, but it is a perfect mirror. It is a faithful servant. It simply aligns with your most dominant instruction. The law does not negotiate, it reflects. So make your instruction one of wealth, of ease, of clarity, of unshakable faith. Keep the call alive. Keep watering the seed. Keep the lantern lit in the window, a bright and steady beacon that your good cannot miss. And finally, you must strip away the vibration of waiting. The law responds to the frequency of now, not someday. If you keep saying, "My money will come," you are placing it forever on the horizon, and the horizon, by its very nature, always recedes as you move toward it. You must begin to speak and act from the place of its arrival. This is not pretending, it is aligning. You are announcing the truth before your physical eyes can perceive it. Prepare your life for the money you have named. Clean out your wallet. Balance your checkbook. Plan what you will do with the funds. Take actions that say to the universe, I am ready. There is a space here for this blessing, and I am making it welcome. Walk as though your supply is already in your hand. Give thanks for it as if it were already spent and enjoyed. Let every breath you take affirm, it is here, it is done. For you have spoken its arrival into the very moment you stand in. You are not broken, my dear one. You are not flawed or forgotten. You are simply remembering the original language of your soul, the language of creation itself. You have learned that your wealth is born first in the unseen, in the sacred chambers of your own consciousness. You have seen that the mold you hold in your mind shapes the sum you receive in your hand. You have understood that you cannot pour a fortune into a vessel that is shaped like lack. This is your work now, your beautiful, liberating, holy work. To speak your sum with clarity, to hold its image with warmth, to feel its presence with joy, to align your every word, your atmosphere, and your action with its inevitable arrival, to refuse the tired language of waiting and to embrace, with your whole being, the living language of having. The invisible laws of this universe have no choice but to obey the voice of unwavering, loving faith. Call your money by its name and refuse to call it anything else. See it in your possession, feel it in your life, bless it before it appears, and when it comes, and it will come, remember to testify. To speak aloud the goodness of the law, so that others may learn that their word, too, is a living key, waiting to unlock the door to their own divine inheritance. The door to your good is already open. The path is clear. I invite you now to seal this new understanding, to make a declaration not just to me, but to yourself and to the universe. Leave a comment below and say, I am ready to lead my subconscious mind. And then, step away from this screen and into the quiet sanctuary of your own being. Ask yourself the question that will change everything. What is the one clear, beautiful, and specific truth you are ready to speak into existence, starting right now?
Right now, this very moment, you are giving the universe commands about money, but you're commanding the wrong thing. Every time you say, I can't afford it, you're ordering poverty. Every time you declare money is tight, you're commanding lack. Every time you speak about financial struggle, you're issuing direct orders to the universe to keep money away from you. But what if I told you that you could reverse those commands instantly? What if you could start ordering money to flow to you with the same authority that you've been unconsciously ordering it away? What if the universe is actually waiting for you to command prosperity with the same certainty that you breathe? You're about to discover something that will fundamentally change how you relate to money forever. The universe doesn't respond to begging, pleading, or hoping. It responds to commands. And when you learn how to command money with divine authority, it has no choice but to obey you. 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, without pause, without question, without delay. Most people have this completely backwards. They think they need to ask the universe for money, pray for abundance, or convince divine intelligence that they're worthy of wealth. This is why most people stay broke their entire lives. They're speaking to the universe like servants instead of speaking with the authority of divine heirs. The truth that will liberate your finances immediately is this: you were created with dominion over all material things, including money. The same divine authority that gave humanity dominion over every living thing on earth also gave you authority over every dollar, every opportunity, every financial blessing that exists. When you command money from this place of spiritual authority, it must obey you. But here's where most people get trapped. They've been programmed to believe that wanting money is greedy, that commanding abundance is presumptuous, that speaking with financial authority is somehow unspiritual. This programming keeps you in a begging mentality when you should be operating from a commanding consciousness. Let me share something that might shock you. Every billionaire on earth understands this principle, whether they realize it or not. They speak about money with absolute certainty. unshakable confidence and commanding authority. They never beg for wealth. They expect it, demand it, and command it into their lives through their words, thoughts, and actions. The difference between someone who struggles financially and someone who commands continuous money flow is not education, connections, or luck. It's the authority level from which they speak about money. Poor people ask. Wealthy people command. When you ask the universe for money, you're implying that you might not receive it. When you command money to flow to you, you're declaring that it must come because you understand your spiritual authority over material things. This shift from asking to commanding changes everything about your financial reality. Here's what happens in the invisible realm when you command money instead of asking for it. The universe recognizes your spiritual authority and immediately begins rearranging circumstances to fulfill your command. Opportunities appear out of nowhere. People offer you money unexpectedly. Financial solutions emerge from impossible situations. Money starts flowing to you from sources you never imagined. But, and this is crucial, your commands must carry genuine authority, not pretended confidence. The universe can tell the difference between someone who truly knows their divine power and someone who's just repeating affirmations they don't really believe. Your inner knowing must match your outer declaration. So how do you develop this commanding consciousness? How do you shift from financial begging to monetary commanding? How do you speak to money with the authority that compels it to obey you? The foundation of commanding consciousness is understanding that money is not your source. Divine intelligence is your source. Money is simply one of the many ways that infinite intelligence expresses itself in your life. When you command money, you're not commanding a limited resource. You're commanding the unlimited creative power of the universe to manifest through financial channels. This understanding eliminates the desperation energy that repels money. When you know that divine intelligence has infinite ways to provide for you, you can command money to flow without the needy energy that actually pushes abundance away. Your commands become powerful because they come from knowing rather than wanting. The first money command that will begin transforming your financial reality immediately is this: I command money to flow to me now from expected and unexpected sources. Notice that this is not a request, it's a command. You're not asking if money can flow to you, you're ordering it to flow to you. You're not hoping it might come, you're declaring that it must come. When you speak this command, you must speak it with the same authority you would use to command your own hand to move. You don't ask your hand to move, you simply command it, and it obeys instantly. This is the same relationship you must develop with money. Command it with absolute certainty that it will obey. But here's where it gets even more powerful. You can set your money commands on autopilot so that wealth flows to you 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, even while you sleep. The universe never stops working, and your money commands can work continuously when you set them up correctly. The technique for creating 24/7 money flow is to command money to work for you around the clock. Declare, I command money to flow to me continuously, day and night, awake and asleep, through all hours and all circumstances. This sets up what I call an abundance autopilot that keeps generating money flow even when you're not consciously thinking about it. Take a moment right now to activate this commanding power in your own life. Pause what you're doing and comment below. I command continuous money flow. When you write these words, you're not just sharing a statement, you're issuing a public command to the universe that money must flow to you. Your written command creates a spiritual contract that activates 24/7 abundance flow. The act of writing this command with authority sets forces in motion that will bring money to you from multiple directions simultaneously. The reason this commanding approach works so powerfully is that it aligns you with the spiritual law of dominion. You were created to have authority over material things, not to be dominated by financial circumstances. When you command money from your rightful position of spiritual authority, you're operating according to divine law rather than human limitation. But commanding money effectively requires more than just changing your words. It requires changing your entire relationship with wealth. You must see yourself as someone who naturally commands financial flow rather than someone who struggles to make ends meet. This identity shift from financially struggling person to money-commanding authority changes everything about how the universe responds to your declarations. Here's a powerful secret that most people never discover. You can command specific amounts of money with exact timing. Instead of vaguely commanding money to flow, you can command $5,000 to manifest by Friday or $10,000 to appear by month's end. The more specific your command, the more precisely the universe can respond to your declaration. When commanding specific amounts, you must command them as if you're placing an order rather than making a wish. Speak with the same authority you would use when ordering food at a restaurant. You don't beg the waiter to bring you dinner. You place your order with the expectation that it will be delivered. Command money with this same matter-of-fact authority. Another powerful commanding technique is to order money to multiply itself in your life. Command. Every dollar that comes to me multiplies and reproduces itself continuously. This sets up what I call money magnetism, where each dollar you receive attracts more dollars to you automatically. Your money starts working to bring you more money. You can also command money to find you when you're not actively seeking it. Declare, money seeks me out and finds me wherever I am. This command programs the universe to arrange coincidences, opportunities, and synchronicities that bring money to you even when you're focused on other things. The commanding consciousness also includes ordering obstacles to your money flow to dissolve immediately. Command. Every barrier to my financial abundance dissolves now. This clears away the invisible blocks that have been preventing money from flowing to you freely. Often, removing obstacles is even more powerful than trying to create new opportunities. Here's something that might surprise you. You can command money to flow to you through specific channels. If you want money through your business, command, I order my business income to increase dramatically. If you want money through investments, command, I order my investments to produce exceptional returns. If you want money through unexpected sources, command, I order surprise money to appear in my life immediately. The key to making your money commands irresistible to the universe is to combine them with deep gratitude for money that's already flowing to you. Before issuing new commands, acknowledge the money that has already obeyed your previous commands. Say, I am grateful for the money that has already flowed to me, and I now command even greater abundance. This gratitude plus commanding combination creates an unstoppable momentum that accelerates your money flow exponentially. The universe responds more powerfully to commands that come from appreciation rather than desperation. When you're grateful for money that's already flowing, your commands for more money carry genuine authority rather than needy energy. You can amplify your commanding power by speaking your money commands at peak energy times. Command money when you feel powerful, confident, and absolutely certain of your authority. Your emotional state when commanding determines how powerfully the universe responds to your declarations. Never command money when you're feeling desperate, worried, or doubtful. These emotional states contaminate your commands with weakness rather than authority. Wait until you feel strong, certain, and powerful before issuing money commands. The universe responds to the energy behind your words as much as the words themselves. Another advanced commanding technique is to order money to flow to you in ways that also bless others. Command, money flows to me abundantly in ways that benefit everyone involved. This creates win-win financial flow that the universe loves to support because it serves the highest good of all parties. You can also command money to flow to you through your unique gifts and talents. Declare, I command abundant compensation for expressing my divine gifts. This aligns your money flow with your life purpose and creates sustainable wealth that comes through doing what you love rather than what you think will make money. The most powerful money command for creating immediate results is this. Money, I command you to manifest in my life right now in the perfect way at the perfect time through the perfect source. This command gives the universe maximum flexibility to deliver money to you in whatever way will work fastest and best for your situation. When you speak this command, you must speak it as if you're a general commanding troops. rather than a beggar asking for charity. Your voice should carry absolute authority and unshakable certainty. The universe responds to commands that come from genuine spiritual authority rather than pretended confidence. Here's what separates money commanding from mere positive thinking. Commanding changes your relationship with money at the identity level. Instead of seeing yourself as someone who needs money, you see yourself as someone who commands money. Instead of hoping money will come, you know money must come because you've ordered it to come. This identity shift from money needer to money commander transforms everything about your financial experience. You stop worrying about money because you know you can command more whenever you need it. You stop feeling powerless about finances because you know money must obey your spiritual authority. The continuous 24/7 money flow happens when you maintain commanding consciousness even during daily activities that have nothing to do with money. While you're working, silently command, "Money flows to me while I work." Before you sleep, command, "Money flows to me while I sleep." While you're relaxing, command, "Money flows to me while I rest." This keeps your money commands active around the clock and programs your subconscious mind to expect money flow during all activities. Your unconscious mind begins attracting money opportunities even when your conscious mind is focused elsewhere. You can also command money to flow through people who want to help you succeed. Declare, "I command generous people to appear in my life with money for me." This opens channels for money to reach you through gifts, investments, partnerships, and opportunities that other people provide. The universe has unlimited creative ways to bring money to you, but it needs your permission through authoritative commands to override the poverty programming that most people carry. Your commands give divine intelligence the authorization to flood your life with abundance that exceeds anything you've experienced before. One of the most effective commanding practices is to wake up each morning and immediately command money for the entire day. Before your feet hit the floor, command, "I order this day to be filled with money opportunities and abundance manifestations." This sets the tone for 24-hour money flow and programs your day for financial success from the moment you wake up. End each day by commanding money for the next day. Before falling asleep, command, "I order tomorrow to bring me unexpected money and surprising abundance." This programs your subconscious mind to attract money opportunities while you sleep and creates momentum that carries over into the following day. The commanding consciousness becomes natural when you practice it consistently. At first, commanding money might feel uncomfortable because you've been programmed to ask rather than command. But as you continue commanding with authority, it becomes as natural as breathing, and money begins flowing to you with the same regularity. Remember that every word you speak about money is either commanding abundance or commanding lack. There's no neutral ground. When you complain about bills, you're commanding more bills. When you worry about money, you're commanding more things to worry about. When you speak limitation, you're commanding limitation to continue. But when you consistently command money to flow, abundance to increase, and wealth to manifest, the universe has no choice but to rearrange your circumstances to match your commands. Your financial reality must align with your authoritative declarations because spiritual law requires it. The most important thing to understand about commanding money is that you're not trying to manipulate the universe. You're aligning with your divine nature as someone who was created to have dominion over material things. Commanding money is not arrogance, it's authenticity to your spiritual identity as an heir of infinite abundance. Your money commands work because they activate the same creative power that spoke the worlds into existence. When you command money with genuine spiritual authority, you're using the same force that creates galaxies and sustains planets. This power is not limited by economic conditions, market fluctuations, or human circumstances. The universe is waiting for you to command money with the authority you were born to exercise. Every moment you spend asking instead of commanding is a moment you're operating below your spiritual potential. Every time you beg instead of order, you're denying your divine inheritance of unlimited abundance. But understanding money, commanding without practicing it, changes nothing. You must begin commanding money immediately with absolute authority and unshakable faith in your divine power over material things. The universe is ready to obey your financial commands. The question is whether you're ready to give them. Your commanding consciousness begins right now. Start issuing money commands throughout your day. Command money while you're driving, working, eating, and sleeping. Make commanding money as natural as commanding your own body to move. Speak to money as if it's your obedient servant rather than your elusive master. Declare with absolute authority and unshakable conviction. Money obeys my every command because I speak with divine authority over all material things. I command money to flow to me continuously from multiple sources simultaneously. I order abundance to manifest in my life 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, without pause or interruption. Every dollar seeks me out and finds me because I command it with spiritual certainty. I am the master of money. I am the commander of abundance. Money flows to me because I order it to flow, and the universe obeys my commands because I speak with the authority of divine intelligence itself.
You are standing at a threshold. Behind you is the path of waiting, before you the path of remembering, and you must choose. Right now, you cannot have a foot on both. The woman who waits hopes life will one day give her permission. She stands at the edge of her own becoming, a spectator to her own power, looking for a sign, a signal, a guarantee that her dreams are possible. She lives in a state of quiet negotiation with life, hoping that if she is good enough, patient enough, deserving enough, her turn will finally come. But the woman who remembers, she walks a different path. She understands that the universe does not lead, it responds. She knows that there is no power outside of her that is greater than the divine intelligence already breathing within her. She does not ask for permission. She gives life its instructions. This is not a fantasy. This is a faculty, a forgotten power that resides within you, waiting to be reclaimed. Florence Scovel Shinn, a woman whose voice of truth cuts through the noise of a century, was a master of this remembrance. Before the world whispered about manifestation, she spoke of it as a law, as dependable as gravity, as clear as mathematics. It's important to understand how radical this was. In a world that taught women to be small, to pray for rescue, she taught them to command their reality. She stood in the quiet and sometimes lonely, knowing that our inner world is the cause and our outer world is the effect. Period. This clarity was often mistaken for arrogance, this faith for fantasy. But she was simply offering a homecoming to a truth our souls already know. She did not teach this from a gilded tower of theory. She learned it in the holy fire of her own life. She knew loss. She knew rejection. She knew what it was to be silenced. And yet, from that very place of seeming defeat, she rose, not by fighting the world, but by realigning her own mind. She proved, with her own 2 feet on the ground, that your inner posture dictates your outer experience. So I will ask you, softly but directly, from what posture have you been living? Take a breath and feel it in your body. The posture of waiting feels like a contraction. The shoulders are rounded forward as if bracing for a blow. The breath is shallow, held high in the chest. There is an energy of apology in this posture, a feeling of, am I asking for too much? It is the posture of the one who hopes not to be noticed, lest her dreams be taken away. The posture of remembering is different. It is an expansion. The spine is long and straight. The breath is deep, rooted in the belly. The heart is open. It is not an aggressive stance, but one of quiet authority. It is the posture of a queen in her own domain who knows her worth is not up for debate. It is the posture of a woman who knows she is not a burden on the universe, but a beloved co-creator with it. From which posture have you been speaking, thinking, and creating? If you truly, deeply understood the power that resides in your own conscious speech, you would never again utter the words, I can't. You would never again describe your life with words of struggle. You would understand that to speak of the problem is to feed the problem. You would guard the gates of your mind as fiercely as you would guard the door to your home. You are not here to wish. You are not here to hope. You are here to remember. To remember that the dream living in your heart is not a random, selfish fantasy. It is a spiritual assignment. It is a divine breadcrumb, a message from the highest part of you, whispering, "This is the next evolution of my expression on earth. I have chosen you as the vessel. Will you allow me to unfold through you?" Your desire is not a distraction. It is your destiny calling. To deny it is to deny the very impulse of life that seeks to express itself more fully through you. Florence didn't teach people to chase after their desires. She taught them to command their reality through unwavering internal alignment. She knew a profound truth. The thing you desire already exists. It is fully formed in the invisible realm of spirit. Your only task is to prepare a space for it within yourself, to remove the inner blocks of doubt, fear, and unworthiness that tell you it isn't yours to have. Every single person you admire had to cross the exact same threshold you are standing at right now, the threshold between doubt and decision. Consider Sarah Blakely. Before she became a billionaire, she was selling fax machines. She had no formal business training, no powerful connections. By all external measures, the world was not giving her signs of success, but she wasn't looking to the world for signs. She was generating the sign from within. While her reality was fax machines, her inner world was already that of a successful founder. She had a vision, yes, but more than that, she had active faith. When she finally created her product, her deep, unwavering decision was, "They are ready for this. This will serve them." That is not hope. That is spiritual law. She did not wait for life to validate her. She decided who she was, and life responded. When seasoned investors laughed, she did not absorb their doubt. She held her knowing. When stores turned her away, she did not see it as rejection. She saw it as divine redirection. That is not hope. That is spiritual law. This is the secret. Your subconscious mind, that deep, fertile feminine part of you, does not respond to proof. It responds to posture. It is the faithful, unquestioning servant of your conscious mind. Imagine it as a dark room where every thought negative you give it is developed into a perfect physical print. It doesn't judge the image, it only develops it. If you hand it images of lack, fear, and not enoughness, it will faithfully produce a life that reflects that. If you consistently hand it clear, vibrant images of wholeness, abundance, and love, it will work tirelessly to bring that reality into form. It cannot do otherwise. Your job is not to force the outcome, but to provide clear, consistent negatives. If you live like your vision is real, the world will follow your lead. But if you live like it's a distant wish, it will remain just beyond your grasp. Florence used to say that when you act as if, you are not pretending. You are preparing. You are rehearsing. You are sending a clear signal to the universe that you are ready. So what is stopping you? That old, familiar story? That insidious voice of doubt that whispers, "Who are you to ask for this?" That voice is not your truth. It is a program, and its reign is over. This is it, your turning point, the sacred, terrible, beautiful moment of choice. And the hesitation must end. Now, decide. Not a soft wish, a command. Decide your vision is fact. Decide your word is law. Decide the waiting is over. Because the moment you choose with this level of fire, life has no choice but to obey. That is not magic. It is your birthright. Once you have made this decision, your real work begins. The sacred work of alignment. You must now practice the identity you have claimed. First, you begin your day with the new posture. Before your feet hit the floor, you lie in the quiet and step into the feeling of the woman you have just decided to be. This is more than a mental exercise. It is a recalibration of your nervous system. You are training your body to feel safe in abundance, to feel at home in love. You feel that feeling, you breathe it into your cells, and you resolve to carry it with you. Second, you engage in the new dialogue. You begin to speak, both internally and externally, from the vision. Think of this as a vibrational diet. You are no longer consuming or producing thoughts of lack and limitation. When a bill arrives, instead of the old thought, you bless it and declare, "My supply is infinite. All my needs are met with a lavish, overflowing surplus." When you feel lonely, you place a hand on your heart and affirm, "I am a powerful magnet for my divinely appointed partner and friendships." You use your word as your wand, consciously and deliberately. Third, you practice the new embodiment. You take small, physical actions that align with the decision you have made. This is prayer in motion. It collapses the time between your decision and its manifestation because it proves your belief to yourself. If you desire a thriving business, you clear your desk. If you desire partnership, you make space in your closet. You romance and honor yourself. These are not silly games. These are powerful signals of preparation. You are telling the universe, "I am not just asking, I am ready. The space is prepared." Do not be discouraged by the silence that may follow your command. When you plant a seed, you do not dig it up. You trust the process. Your new belief is a seed in the fertile soil of your subconscious. The initial stillness is a sign of deep, inner germination. The old reality may still linger for a time, like the echo of a bell after it has been struck. This is normal. The discomfort you may feel is the friction between your old energetic signature and the new one you are embodying. It is a sign of profound success. It means the old is dissolving. Your job is to hold the faith, to keep watering the seed with your focused attention. The old self will rise up to test you. It will scream for your attention. See these thoughts, thank them for trying to protect you, and gently, firmly return your focus to your new truth. You are not broken. You were never broken. You are simply remembering the language your soul has always spoken. Do not let this be another moment of passive inspiration. Let this be your moment of activation, a line drawn in the sand of your own soul. The world doesn't need to hear your decision, but your subconscious mind demands it. It is waiting for its new, clear instructions. So go to the comments now and make your declaration. Type the words that seal your new reality. I decide now. 2 words. That's all it takes to begin. 2 words to end the waiting forever. The dream is already here. The divine blueprint is already drawn. Will you finally give it a body to live in?
Every word you speak is a seed cast upon the fertile soil of the unseen. The soil does not question the seed, it simply brings forth after its kind. If you plant words of lack, want, and limitation, the harvest is barren. But if you speak the living psalm of abundance, prosperity rises to meet you like a golden dawn. The spoken word is a law unto itself, swift and sure, carrying the vibration of what is believed in the secret chambers of the heart. When one understands this, poverty dissolves like mist before the sun. For wealth is already present, waiting only for recognition. The psalm is a living current, not mere words on a page. It is a declaration, a key that unlocks hidden treasure, a reminder that the universe is a storehouse without walls. When spoken with faith, the psalm stirs the substance of spirit into form, drawing opportunities, supply, and unexpected blessings. One need not struggle or strive in anxious labor, for the psalm announces, "All that I need is already prepared." The moment the word is spoken with conviction, the unseen begins to shape itself into visible wealth. Many believe wealth is a distant prize, something to be pursued with restless effort, yet true riches are as close as one's breath. Every time you affirm the psalm, you align with the divine order of plenty. Just as a river does not question its flow, abundance does not question its giver. It simply moves, replenishes, and restores. The psalm is the reminder that you are heir to infinite supply, not through toil, but through alignment with the law of good. Words of power must not be spoken idly. They are instruments of creation, carriers of life. The psalm, when spoken aloud, commands substance to arrange itself into new channels. Closed doors swing open, forgotten debts are cleared, and gifts appear in unexpected places. Nothing is withheld from the one who speaks with unwavering faith. Wealth is not taken, but released. It is not earned, but realized. The psalm is the password that unlocks what was always yours. When fear whispers its lie of lack, the psalm speaks louder, declaring that the storehouses of heaven are overflowing. Fear crumbles before the rhythm of truth. Each line of the psalm is a chisel, breaking down the walls of doubt until only freedom remains. You need not wonder if the law will work. It cannot fail. Just as the seed must sprout, so must the psalm manifest. To speak this psalm is to command the wealth of the invisible into the visible. The voice is the vessel, the word is the command, and faith is the fire that makes substance obey. The psalm is not a plea, but a decree. You are not begging the universe for crumbs. You are affirming the banquet already laid before you. Wealth is not outside of you. It is you, and the psalm is the mirror that reveals it. Words are seeds that manifest wealth, and every thought that takes form upon the lips is a creative act that goes forth to prepare its own harvest. The universe is obedient to vibration, and the spoken word is the highest instrument of vibration available to humankind. It is not mere sound, it is substance clothed in tone, carrying the very blueprint of belief into the invisible. When one begins to understand that words are not casual, not idle, not empty, but containers of life and power, then the practice of speech becomes a sacred art, for the word spoken today becomes the experience of tomorrow. Just as no gardener sows thorns and expects roses, so no soul can sow words of lack and expect riches. Every utterance is a seed dropped into the fertile soil of the subconscious and the creative ethers, and those ethers cannot help but bring forth after their kind. If a man rises each day saying, "I cannot afford this, I never have enough, life is hard," then those words plant roots deep into the soil of reality. The invisible hears no jest, it does not weigh intention, it responds only to vibration. The seed of not enough must sprout into experiences of insufficiency, and the more the words are watered with emotion, the stronger the crop of limitation becomes. The harvest may arrive in delayed wages, unexpected bills, dwindling resources, or opportunities that slip through the fingers. It is not punishment, it is law, for the soil must yield what is sown. But if the same lips begin to sow words of abundance, the entire garden of life shifts. When one declares, "I am rich in every way. I walk in divine supply, money comes to me freely and easily," the ethers rearrange themselves to match the vibration of those seeds. New ideas come like sudden rays of light, doors open that were previously invisible, and people appear bearing gifts, assistance, and resources. The soil of spirit does not delay its harvest, it begins at once to press out into form whatever seed is dropped into it. Words are seeds not only because they hold vibration, but because they carry faith, and faith is the invisible water that nourishes the unseen. A word spoken with doubt is a seed cast on stony ground, but a word spoken with certainty is planted deep in rich soil, where nothing can hinder its growth. When one repeatedly affirms wealth with faith, the very cells of the body resonate with prosperity. The mind becomes attuned to opportunities, and the heart becomes magnetic to supply. The outer world merely reflects the abundance that has already been spoken within. One may look at the world and see many reasons to speak lack. Yet the creative soul must resist the temptation of appearances. Appearances are but shadows of old seeds, old words spoken in ignorance or fear. To dwell upon them and speak them again is to replant them for another season. Instead, the wise gardener turns away from the barren field and sows new words, words filled with the fragrance of riches, wholeness, and freedom. The harvest cannot fail, for the soil never resists the seed. Words of wealth have a peculiar strength because they are aligned with truth. The essence of life is abundance, for nature multiplies without effort. One apple contains countless seeds, one stalk of wheat produces many more, and the ocean does not measure its waves. To speak of wealth is to align with the eternal pattern of plenty, while to speak of lack is to deny the very order of creation. That is why words of abundance are so powerful. They are not invented fantasies, but echoes of the divine law that all supply is infinite and ever renewing. When words are spoken, the vibration enters not only the outer world, but also the innermost consciousness. The subconscious mind receives every statement as a command and goes to work to bring it into reality. If one says continually, "I am always short of money," the subconscious accepts it and begins arranging circumstances to confirm it. But if one declares, "Money flows to me like a river, I am surrounded by prosperity, I am rich in every direction," the subconscious likewise obeys, drawing situations, people, and opportunities to validate the command. It is as though the subconscious is the soil and the word is the seed. Whatever is sown must sprout. The practice of speaking wealth must be constant, deliberate, and filled with conviction. Just as a farmer does not scatter a handful of seed and expect a full harvest, but sows carefully, day after day, so must the seeker of prosperity sow words of wealth continually. Each affirmation is a seed dropped into the earth of spirit, and with time, the field will be overflowing. Patience is essential, for no farmer digs up the seed to see if it is growing. He trusts the soil and the law of germination. So too, one must trust the invisible law of words, knowing that each declaration of wealth is already bearing fruit unseen, which will soon press forth into visible reality. There is no scarcity in the universe, there is only misseeding. Too many plant weeds of doubt, fear, and complaint, and then wonder why the field of life appears barren. But the law is impartial, it gives back what is sown. The one who learns to guard his words as carefully as a gardener guards his seed knows that only good can return. To speak of riches, joy, and supply is to plant a garden that cannot fail, for the law of words is unfailing and eternal. Even idle conversation carries creative power. Casual remarks such as, "I am broke," or, "That is too expensive," scatter seeds of poverty upon the soil, and the harvest comes whether one is conscious of planting or not. Therefore, one must discipline the tongue, making it a servant of prosperity rather than a betrayer. The lips must be trained to speak only abundance, and when the temptation of lack arises, one must quickly uproot it with a stronger declaration of supply. In time, the habit of wealth-filled speech becomes second nature, and the field of life flourishes without effort. To understand that words are seeds that manifest wealth is to possess the master key of prosperity. The voice is the sower, the word is the seed, the subconscious is the soil, and life itself is the harvest. There is no accident in riches and no mystery in poverty, each is the outcome of words planted long ago. By changing the seed, one changes the harvest, and by changing the word, one changes the world. The psalm is a decree, not a plea, for to speak a decree is to stand in authority, while to utter a plea is to confess lack of power. The one who decrees knows the law and speaks from alignment with it, declaring what is already true in the unseen until it shapes itself into visible form. A decree is not asking, it is commanding, and command carries the vibration of certainty, while pleading vibrates with doubt. To decree is to acknowledge that the wealth of the universe is already present and awaiting recognition, while to plead is to imagine it distant, withheld or dependent on chance. The psalm spoken as a decree rises with the force of divine law and moves substance into obedience, while the psalm spoken as a plea falls short, for it denies the power that is already at hand. When one decrees, there is no tone of desperation, only the calm assurance of authority. A decree is the voice of one who knows that doors open at the sound of their word, that substance arranges itself at the command of their voice. The decree is not shouted, it is not strained, it is not laden with anxiety. It is spoken with the serene confidence of the king, who speaks to his servants, knowing they will obey. The psalm is this decree, and when spoken rightly, It carries the same energy of command, summoning wealth and supply from the invisible into the visible without question. The plea, on the other hand, is the language of separation. It imagines the source of wealth as distant and reluctant, requiring persuasion. It is like a beggar standing at the gates of abundance, pressing for a crumb, never realizing the gates have already been opened. To plead is to confess ignorance of the law, for the law has never withheld. To decree is to awaken to the truth that abundance is a fact, and that fact is affirmed by words of power. Pleading vibrates with want, decreeing vibrates with possession, and vibration is what molds the invisible into form. The decree is not made in arrogance, but in alignment. It is not the small self demanding, but the higher self declaring. It is the voice of divine authority within every soul, speaking the language of certainty. The psalm as decree is the declarations. This is mine by divine right, this is established now. Nothing can hinder it. Such words carry no trace of fear, no shadow of hesitation. They stand as living truth, and the unseen bends to them as trees bend to the wind. When the psalm is spoken as a decree, it does not ask for wealth to appear someday, it calls it forth now. Time collapses under the decree, for the decree recognizes no delay. It does not hope, it knows. It does not wait, it claims. It does not plead for supply, it commands the storehouses of the universe to open. Such words, spoken with unwavering conviction, create conditions that reflect their authority. Checks arrive, opportunities appear, debts are dissolved, and doors open where there were none. The decree carries creative energy because it is spoken as law. Law does not bargain, it does not ask permission, it does not hesitate. The law simply is, and the decree spoken in alignment with it is irresistible. When one decrees wealth, the decree goes forth like lightning, clearing away obstacles, cutting through resistance, and illuminating the path to abundance. No force can oppose it, for it is the vibration of truth spoken into the world of form. To live by decree is to shift from the position of supplicant to sovereign. The supplicant waits, worries, and wonders if their request will be heard. The sovereign decrees and walks forward, knowing the word has already set the unseen into motion. The psalm spoken as decree is the act of sovereignty, the reminder that you are heir to all that is, that nothing can be withheld, that every form of wealth is already prepared. The difference between decree and plea can be heard in the tone of the voice. Pleading trembles, it strains, it seeks. Decreeing resounds, it anchors, it establishes. Pleading hopes, decreeing knows. Pleading vibrates with lack, decreeing vibrates with possession. Pleading creates delay. Decreeing creates manifestation. This is why the psalm must always be spoken as a decree, for only then does it carry the weight of law and the force of creation. The decree transforms consciousness. When one repeatedly declares wealth as already theirs, the mind ceases to vibrate with worry and begins to vibrate with certainty. That certainty draws wealth, for the outer is but a reflection of the inner. A mind that decrees is a mind anchored in abundance. A mind that pleads is a mind still chained to lack. Each decree reshapes the inner landscape, tearing down old beliefs of scarcity and planting new patterns of prosperity. Over time, the habit of decree builds a consciousness so aligned with wealth that it becomes magnetic, drawing riches without effort. Even in the face of appearances, the decree stands. Appearances may show an empty purse, unpaid bills, or dwindling resources, yet the decree speaks louder than sight. It says, "Wealth is mine now, supply is endless. Nothing can hinder my good." To decree in the face of contradiction is to exercise the highest form of faith, and faith of this kind compels the unseen to conform to the word spoken. Pleading, however, only reinforces the appearance, for to plead is to confess belief in lack. The decree denies lack any reality, affirming only the presence of abundance. The psalmist's decree does not wait for proof before speaking. It is the speaking that produces the proof. The decree precedes the evidence. It does not follow it. One does not wait until wealth appears to declare, "I am rich." One decrees it now, and the wealth appears in obedience to the decree. The law works only for those who speak first in faith, not for those who wait to be convinced by sight. The decree is the act of faith itself, and faith is the unseen substance from which wealth is shaped. Thus the psalm, spoken as decree, is the creative act by which wealth is called into form. It is not a request whispered in uncertainty, but a command spoken in authority. It is the voice of alignment, the vibration of truth, the language of possession. Each decree is a key turned in the lock of the invisible, opening doors that pleading could never open. Each decree is a seed of law, planted with certainty, destined to sprout into visible riches. To decree is to know, and to know is to create. Wealth is already present, awaiting recognition. For the supply of life is not something to be created, but something to be revealed. The universe is a boundless storehouse where nothing is lacking, and all that ever was or ever will be already exists in the invisible. The appearance of scarcity is not a fact but a shadow of misbelief, for abundance has never ceased to flow. It is as though riches are waiting at the door, but the eyes are veiled, and the mind imagines an empty street. The moment the veil is lifted, the truth is seen, and what was thought absent is recognized as present, pressing to pour itself into form. Recognition is the key, for no treasure can be used if one does not know it is there. A man may walk across fields filled with gold and diamonds and see only dust if his eyes are dimmed by disbelief. So it is with wealth. The riches are all around, hidden not in the world but in perception. To recognize wealth is to shift consciousness, to declare that supply is not something to be gained, but something to be claimed. The law has already provided, the recognition brings it forth. The mind trained in lack overlooks opportunities, disregards ideas, and rejects blessings, because it cannot see them for what they are. The mind trained in abundance recognizes doors where others see walls, hears guidance where others hear silence, finds prosperity where others find emptiness. Recognition is not passive, it is active seeing. It is the declaration. This is mine by divine right. This is present now, this is flowing already. When such recognition is held, the invisible begins to arrange itself into visible channels. Money arrives in ways unexpected, opportunities arise like sudden spring blossoms, and the very air seems filled with possibility. Wealth does not need to be chased, for chasing implies absence. The deer runs because the hunter pursues, but supply does not run from anyone. It is already here, like the air one breathes. To run after wealth is to confess separation, to declare with every step that it is elsewhere. But to recognize wealth is to breathe it in as naturally as oxygen, to understand that it surrounds, supports, and fills every corner of life. The recognition brings rest, and in rest, the flow of abundance becomes natural. Wealth is already present in the form of ideas. Every fortune began with an idea, a spark in the mind that revealed a new channel of supply. Ideas are wealth, for they are the invisible substance that shapes into riches. When one recognizes that wealth is present in the thought that flashes across the mind, one ceases to belittle inspiration. The smallest idea, when recognized and acted upon, can open a river of prosperity. Recognition transforms ideas from fleeting shadows into golden opportunities. Wealth is also present in relationships, in the connections and associations that are often overlooked. Every person carries within them a potential channel of blessing. And when the consciousness of abundance is held, the right people appear at the right time. Recognition allows one to see each meeting as divine arrangement rather than accident. What looks like a casual encounter becomes the opening of a door. Wealth has always been present in the network of human connections, but without recognition, it lies dormant, unexpressed, unseen. To say wealth is already present is to acknowledge that the substance of prosperity is spiritual, not material. Matter is only the shadow, the final form. The essence is unseen, eternal, and ever-present. Recognition does not create, it reveals. Just as light does not create the room but reveals it, recognition does not create wealth but uncovers what has always been waiting. The psalm that declares abundance awakens the inner eye to see what was hidden, and once seen, it manifests in the visible. The habit of recognition transforms the mind from dwelling on lack to dwelling on sufficiency. Each time one declares, "Wealth is here now," Supply is overflowing, I walk in divine abundance. The consciousness of recognition grows stronger. Slowly, the eyes begin to see what was always present: opportunities that were ignored, talents that lay dormant, gifts that were overlooked. The world becomes rich, not because it has changed, but because perception has shifted to match the truth. Many fail to recognize wealth because they expect it to appear in one form only. They look for money in the bank and ignore the idea in the mind, the contact in the crowd, the inspiration in the silence. Wealth is infinite in form, and recognition must be broad, alert, and receptive. To say, wealth is already present, is to open the heart to receive it in any channel, without resistance or narrow expectation. The recognition allows wealth to flow freely, whether through salary, gifts, business, ideas, or unexpected provision. The soil of the universe never ceases to produce, but the harvest depends on recognition. If one insists the field is barren, the crop is overlooked, though it grows in plain sight. Recognition is the farmer who sees the grain ready for harvest and gathers it in. Without recognition, the grain falls to the ground unused, while the farmer still complains of hunger. Life is full of such unrecognized riches. Friendships that could be partnerships, hobbies that could be fortunes, talents that could be professions. Recognition alone turns potential into possession. Wealth is already present because life itself is wealth. To breathe is wealth, to think is wealth, to create is wealth. Every faculty of the soul is a treasure waiting to be recognized. The voice can sing, the hands can build, the mind can invent, the heart can inspire. Within each gift lies the seed of riches, but unless recognized, it lies idle. Recognition awakens the gifts, honors them, and directs them toward fruitful expression. The very act of seeing one's own gifts as wealth opens the way for the world to mirror that wealth in tangible form. Even what appears as limitation often hides wealth. A setback may conceal a lesson that leads to prosperity. A closed door may redirect the path toward greater riches. Recognition transforms obstacles into opportunities, turning stones into stepping stones. Wealth is not absent in adversity, it is merely disguised, awaiting the eye that can see. To the one who recognizes, every condition becomes a channel of supply, every experience a contributor to abundance. Wealth is already present in the eternal now. It is not something to be awaited in the future, for to wait is to postpone recognition. The future never arrives, only the present is real, and in the present, abundance is already given. To affirm wealth in the now is to align with truth, while to defer it is to live in illusion. Recognition happens in the present moment, and in that recognition, the invisible substance of wealth begins to flow visibly. Thus, wealth does not need to be created, pursued, or earned in struggle. It needs only to be recognized. The psalm spoken with authority awakens recognition, and recognition opens the eyes to see riches in every direction. The gold was always in the field, the pearls always in the sea. The treasures always in the heart, but only recognition can gather them into form. Wealth is here, waiting, pressing against the door of consciousness, eager to be claimed. Speaking with faith opens hidden channels, for faith is the unseen bridge between the word and its manifestation. When one speaks without faith, the words scatter like seeds thrown on stony ground, lacking the power to root. But when faith fills the word, it becomes a living decree, a command that calls forth unseen forces into visible supply. Faith is not effort, nor is it strain, it is quiet knowing. A serene conviction that what is spoken already exists in the invisible, and is therefore certain to appear. Every hidden channel of wealth, every avenue of prosperity, every unseen opportunity waits only for the sound of the words spoken in faith to awaken it into motion. The channels of supply are infinite, yet they are invisible to the one who doubts. Doubt closes the eyes and blinds the heart, leaving only the narrow belief that abundance must arrive through one limited path. Faith, however, opens vision. It allows one to see possibilities where others see nothing, to perceive doors where others perceive walls, to expect rivers where others see deserts. Speaking with faith unlocks these concealed passages, for faith commands the unseen to reveal itself, and the hidden channels spring open as naturally as seeds bursting in the soil after rain. When the lips declare abundance with unwavering faith, the declaration becomes a magnet that draws resources from unexpected places. Money may arrive from forgotten debts repaid, from gifts freely given, from opportunities previously overlooked. The channel does not need to be known by the speaker, it is faith that calls it forth. The invisible arranges the details, aligning people, circumstances, and timing in a perfect sequence. Faith does not ask how, it simply declares, and the how reveals itself. The hidden channels are infinite in number, and faith unlocks the one most suited to the moment. Speaking with faith aligns the vibration of the individual with the vibration of abundance. Words spoken in fear carry the vibration of lack, and lack draws lack. Words spoken in faith carry the vibration of certainty, and certainty draws wealth. The universe responds to vibration, not appearances, and faith is the vibration of truth recognized. To speak in faith is to send forth a current so strong that unseen doors swing open, pathways unfold, and resources flow where once there seemed to be none. Faith transforms the subconscious mind, the silent architect of circumstances. When one speaks words of wealth with faith, the subconscious accepts them as law and begins to reorganize outer life to match the inner decree. Ideas are brought to the surface, connections are drawn, actions are inspired. The subconscious, once filled with doubts and fears, becomes a servant of prosperity under the rule of faith. Hidden channels that were always present but ignored come into view, and wealth flows naturally. Speaking without faith is like knocking on a door without believing anyone is inside. The knock is empty. Speaking with faith is like knocking while knowing the room is already filled with treasures prepared and waiting. The difference is not in the words themselves but in the energy behind them. Faith energizes the word, making it irresistible, while doubt weakens it, leaving it powerless. The psalm spoken with faith is like a key that turns easily in the lock, opening what was once hidden. Faith is not dependent on sight. To wait for visible proof before speaking is not faith but hesitation. Faith speaks in the absence of evidence, knowing the evidence will follow. The hidden channels open because faith calls them into being, not because they were already visible. The farmer plants seed without seeing the harvest, yet his faith in the law of growth compels him to plant. In the same way, speaking with faith is planting words into the fertile soil of spirit, trusting the hidden channels of supply to sprout in their own time. When faith is spoken, fear is silenced. Fear closes channels, sealing them behind walls of doubt and anxiety. Fear insists there is no way, that doors are locked, that provision is scarce. But faith contradicts fear and declares abundance in spite of appearances. That declaration breaks the walls of limitation, forcing hidden channels to reveal themselves. Time and again, those who speak in faith find opportunities opening where none were visible, supply flowing from sources unimagined, and riches arriving in ways that seemed impossible. The act of speaking with faith is also an act of surrender. It is the release of control over how wealth must arrive, combined with absolute certainty that it will arrive. Faith does not dictate the form. It simply knows the supply is inevitable. This surrender allows the infinite intelligence of the universe to select the perfect channel, often one far greater than the limited imagination could design. Hidden channels appear because faith does not bind them, but leaves them free to flow. Faith is contagious, and words spoken with faith influence not only the speaker but all who hear them. A declaration of abundance filled with conviction can inspire others, shift their perception, and create cooperative energy that multiplies opportunities. Hidden channels often open through people, and faith-filled speech awakens those around you to become instruments of provision. One person's certainty can draw forth the generosity, cooperation, and resources of many others, creating a network of abundance where none was visible before. Speaking with faith also dissolves delay. Many believe wealth must take long to appear, that years of effort are required, but faith collapses time. The decree spoken with conviction moves swiftly, aligning conditions in accelerated ways. What would have taken months can arrive in days, What seemed distant can appear at once. The hidden channels were never absent, only concealed, and faith reveals them with sudden clarity. To cultivate the habit of speaking with faith is to live in continual openness to abundance. Each word becomes a seed of certainty, each affirmation a chisel breaking down the walls of limitation. The more one speaks with faith, the more natural it becomes, until doubt loses its hold and abundance flows without hindrance. The hidden channels are not rare exceptions, but the natural order of life, always waiting to be uncovered. Faith is the vision that uncovers them, the voice that commands them, the vibration that draws them into manifestation. Every story of sudden prosperity, every testimony of unexpected supply, carries the same root. Someone spoke with faith. They declared abundance without hesitation. They affirmed provision in spite of appearances. They held their word as truth, and the hidden channels opened. This law is universal, impartial, and unfailing. The psalm, when spoken in faith, is the living decree that turns the invisible key, and the treasures long concealed are brought into light. Fear dissolves before the rhythm of truth, for fear is nothing but the shadow of false belief, a mist with no true substance, and truth is the rising sun that dispels it. When one begins to speak the words of truth with conviction, fear has no choice but to fade, for it cannot endure the vibration of certainty. The rhythm of truth is steady, unbroken, eternal, and when aligned with it, every tremor of fear is stilled. Fear thrives in silence, in the absence of the spoken word of power, but once truth is declared aloud, fear trembles and retreats, for it cannot stand against the law. Fear is the great robber of wealth. It whispers that supply is uncertain, that opportunities are scarce, that doors are closed. It convinces the heart to shrink, the hand to hesitate, the mind to doubt, and in that hesitation, abundance is delayed. But fear has no true authority. It is a liar without foundation. The rhythm of truth once spoken exposes fear for what it is, a hollow echo, an illusion without substance. Truth declares that supply is infinite, that wealth is everywhere present, that channels are unending, and in the steady vibration of that declaration, fear dissolves. The rhythm of truth is not frantic, not hurried, not desperate. It is calm, sure, and continuous, like the beating of a drum that cannot falter. When one speaks truth with consistency, aligning word after word with the law of abundance, the rhythm builds until it becomes the dominant vibration. Fear, which thrives on irregularity and wavering, cannot survive in such a steady flow. The more constant the declaration of truth, the less room remains for the tremors of fear. Fear survives only where belief in separation remains. It feeds on the idea that one is cut off from supply, that wealth must be wrestled from a reluctant universe. The rhythm of truth denies this entirely, affirming instead that all good is already given, already present, already flowing. To speak truth in this way is to stand in the certainty of oneness with abundance. As this rhythm strengthens, fear loses its hold, for it cannot coexist with the awareness of divine supply. The two vibrations are incompatible, and truth always prevails. Fear often disguises itself as caution, prudence, or humility, whispering that it is wiser to expect little than to be disappointed. But truth reveals that such whispers are chains of limitation, keeping the soul bound to lack. When truth is spoken, it declares boldly, "I am one with infinite supply, wealth flows to me without limit, nothing can hinder my good." These words, repeated in rhythm, break the chains of false caution and dissolve the disguise of fear. The steady beat of truth unmasks fear and renders it powerless. The rhythm of truth is not only spoken but felt. It moves through the body, calming nerves, steadying breath, bringing peace to the heart. Fear agitates, tightens, and unsettles, but truth relaxes, expands, and anchors. When truth is declared with faith, the body itself aligns with its rhythm, releasing tension and opening channels of energy. This physical harmony reflects itself outwardly, attracting circumstances that mirror the calm certainty within. Fear can no longer cling to a body and mind attuned to the vibration of truth. Fear creates illusions of delay, convincing the mind that wealth is far away, hidden in some distant future. Truth dissolves this illusion by declaring abundance in the present, affirming that supply exists here and now. The rhythm of truth insists on immediacy, on the eternal now, on the presence of good already at hand. As these words are spoken, fear's projection into the future collapses, and the present moment reveals its hidden riches. The rhythm of truth also transforms perception. Fear clouds the eyes, making opportunities invisible and blessings appear as threats. Truth clears the vision, revealing doors where walls once seemed to stand. What fear called impossible, truth calls inevitable. What fear named scarcity, truth names abundance. This shift of perception comes not from outer change, but from the steady declaration of truth, spoken until the rhythm overrides the old patterns of fear. Speaking truth with rhythm builds momentum. Each declaration strengthens the last, creating a rising current of certainty. Fear may resist at first, clinging to old patterns, but as the rhythm continues, it loses strength, unable to withstand the steady tide. Eventually, the current of truth grows so strong that fear can no longer re-enter, for the vibration of abundance has become the dominant song. The soul becomes anchored in wealth consciousness, and fear's voice fades into silence. Fear is unstable, ever-changing, shifting from one worry to the next, but truth is unchanging, eternal, the same yesterday, today, and forever. When the psalm is spoken with faith, its words carry this eternal rhythm, reminding the soul of its unbreakable connection to supply. Fear dissolves in the face of such constancy, for it cannot endure where there is no wavering. The psalm becomes a steady drumbeat, and fear, unable to match its rhythm, falls away. Even in the midst of appearances that seem frightening, truth spoken with rhythm dissolves fear. The outer world may present lack, debt, or limitation, but the declaration of truth insists. These appearances are shadows, the substance of wealth is already here. As these words are spoken, the vibration shifts, and fear is stripped of its disguise. The appearances begin to change, aligning themselves with truth, and the hidden abundance emerges into view. Fear cannot resist this transformation, for it has no true reality of its own. Fear is a parasite, living only on the energy of belief. It has no life apart from the attention given to it. The rhythm of truth starves fear by withdrawing attention and redirecting it to abundance. Each declaration of truth is a withdrawal of energy from fear and an investment of energy into supply. Over time, fear withers from neglect, while truth grows stronger and more vibrant. The rhythm becomes natural, and fear loses the ability to reattach itself. Fear whispers of limitation, but truth sings of expansion. Fear contracts the heart, but truth expands it. Fear binds, but truth liberates. When one chooses to align with the rhythm of truth, speaking words of abundance and certainty with steady conviction, fear dissolves naturally, as darkness dissolves before light. The rhythm itself is the power, and the more one yields to it, the more fear is rendered powerless. In every life, fear attempts to stand guard over hidden treasures, but the rhythm of truth is the key that unlocks the gate. Once spoken consistently, it reveals that the guard was only a shadow, a phantom with no authority. The treasures of wealth, long hidden, shine forth, and fear vanishes like smoke in the wind. The rhythm of truth is the eternal assurance that abundance is already given, that nothing can oppose it, that no fear can endure where truth is spoken with conviction.